Welcome to this week's episode of Campbell and Jones Meet the Monsters, the podcast where we chart the cinematic legacy of the classic monsters. I'm John Campbell. With me, as always, Brendan Jones.
John Campbell, I have a joke for you. You ready?
Yes. Take it away.
Okay. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Count Yorga.
Count Yorga who?
Count Yorga, who we saw get staked in a movie that they made like a year before this one and was dead.
Yes, and then returns with basically no explanation.
All right. I need to work on the joke because it didn't get a laugh, but I was really proud of it. I was up really late working on that one.
Didn't we see you die last year, Yorga?
Didn't we see your vampire wives die? And how come you have brand new ones?
Yeah. This movie almost makes it seem like the first movie didn't matter at all.
This movie is almost just kind of a rehash of the first movie, and you're like, but why don't you move the story forward? And they didn't.
Yeah, but also worse than the first movie. And I didn't love the first movie.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it either, but this one is much worse and makes me like the first one more.
I don't know about much worse. I'd say they're almost arm in arm, but the first one is slightly better. But this one has my favorite scene in possibly any horror film ever. So while I say this is not a great film, it has one of my favorite scenes I've ever seen in my life.
Okay, well, we are talking about 1971's Return of Count Yorga. He's back!
Is this the first time we've done a direct back-to-back sequel?
I think it might be, yeah.
Because even with the Universals and Hammers, there was usually something in between, or we didn't do the Karnstein movies back to back. So yeah, this is I think the first time we've done.
Yeah. Well, we're dealing with a different, because we're not dealing with one studio, so we are dealing with just what's coming out. And the 70s, a lot of the stuff moves to TV, so we're not like multiple movies a year. We have less movies overall, I think, this year than Universal.
It's true,
or Hammer.
And not too many sequels, though. Of course, Blackula and Blackula Scream, and we'll be dealing with that. Now, I did not prepare anything else because there was nothing about the first one either, so there's no behind the scenes. But as I promised,
these movies just showed up one day. We don't know.
They just showed up. They were cold and wet, and I brought them in. I wrapped them in blankets.
Oh, come here, you little Yorga.
Who's the best little Yorga? You are.
He's a cute little vampire.
But as I promised last week, I will. One of the factoids I found about what would have been the third Yorga movie is actually kind of a double factoid. One is, as I'd said before, and I will still stand by this, Abominable Dr. Phibes is one of my top 10 favorite films of all time.
Great movie.
I love the Abominable Dr. Phibes.
I wouldn't put it in my maybe top 10 of all time, but I would say it is certainly the best Vincent Price movie.
Yeah, and maybe I'm exaggerating by saying top 10, but I do love it. Oh,
it's great.
I love it. And we won't be covering it on this podcast because it doesn't fit our...
we have talked about at some point maybe doing a Vincent Price specific mini.
He deserves it. Yeah, he deserves it.
It's just treating Vincent Price as one of the classic monsters.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
But there was talk for the sequel of the Abominable Dr. Phibes, which was called Dr. Phibes Rises Again.
Yes.
Originally, it was going to be Dr. Phibes versus Count Yorga. And it would have been an earlier Count Yorga because the Phibes series is set in the 20s and 30s.
Right.
And man, do I wish that had happened. However, what we did get in Dr. Phibes Rises Again is Robert Quarry, same actor, playing an immortal, but not a vampire, an immortal alchemist.
Right.
So basically, they just said... He's great in it. And I will say this. Even in these two Yorga movies, he's a different vampire, and I like him. I wish the scripts and the movies had been better for him because he does a good job.
There are things I like about him. I will say, though, that there are... Anytime
There's a lot of cheese.
Anytime they try to make him actually threatening and scary, though, it doesn't. Him just running at the camera in his little vampire outfit, I'm like, this is not scary. He's a middle-aged man.
What doesn't help is slow-mo.
No, that makes it infinitely worse.
Oh, we're not there yet. But the first factoid was Yorga was a big success. Return of Count Yorga. They basically immediately started filming. Well,
because it comes out the next year, they would have to.
Exactly, but they were surprised at how big a hit it was, and that's why there was talk of putting the character in the Fibes thing. But they also were talking of doing a third one, and the story concept of the third Yorga movie sounds pretty great. I'm sorry we didn't get it.
I was going to say, thankfully we never got a third one, but maybe they could have turned it around on the third one.
Well, this was the story concept, which is very different, and and I think would have been cool. The concept of the third movie was that Yorga would be broken. Like he would come back, but he would be severely debilitated. He's no longer the fancy Dan in a nice mansion. Apparently he was going to be hiding in the sewers of LA and creates an army of undead homeless people in the sewers of LA.
Why hold that for the third one? Make that the second one. That sounds way better.
It sounds very cool.
It's different.
But we didn't get
That's all I really want this to be. Different. This is, as you said earlier, this is basically just the first movie again with a couple of tweaks here and there, but they're still it's all basically the same beats.
Basically the same, except for they were like, hey, can we make romance more of a part of it? Like there is a woman he falls in love with. I'm like, yeah, but if you really do it, and you don't really do it in this?
No.
Oh, you just kind of have a line of dialogue and that's it?
Because two movies in, I still have the same complaint as last week, which is I still don't really know anything about Yorga as a character. Yep. And he's actually fairly absent from this movie. I felt like there's less Yorga screen time in this than there was in the first one, which is a bummer.
It's very true. Because
I actually like Quarry's performance as Yorga when he's talking, not when he's rushing the camera in his silly vampire outfit.
Agreed. He gives him a personality, and he's still similar to the first movie. Arrogant. Like he has this thing where he's like, I don't care who knows I'm a vampire. It's kind of, he just sort of shoves it in people's faces, which I do appreciate.
He does. At the end of this movie, though, I feel like they dropped the ball by having him go into cackling supervillain mode, and it kind of does damage to the character to me, as opposed to the guy who's just like, I've already won, so I don't even need to do this. But for him to be like, you're going to die! That's kind of not the appeal of Yorga to me as a guy doing that.
But you know who doesn't drop the ball in this movie?
Who is that?
Tommy, the little boy.
Nope, he keeps a hold of that. Oh my God.
He goes back for the ball when undead creatures are coming after him. He's like, can't leave my ball behind.
I gotta get my ball back. Tommy in this movie. I mean, there are some distinctly worse decisions in this movie than the first one.
There are.
Tommy is one of them. Deaf lady's another one.
Well, she's not deaf. That's what drove me crazy.
Well,
is that
they treat her like
whole
she's
movie
deaf.
I'm sitting. Yeah, the whole movie I'm going, is she deaf? Because some people use sign language with her. She uses sign language to speak to them. But then most of the movie are people just talking to her, and she's nodding. She understands. So I'm like, so she's not deaf. She's just mute? Okay.
Yeah, it's very inconsistent. I could not figure out what the deal with her was. And
most of this movie,
why, and it's infuriating. Scenes with her are just infuriating.
Sure, yeah, there's a lot.
Because it is an over-the-top performance by obviously not a deaf and or mute actress.
I kept calling her Carol Burnett's kid sister because it's kind of what she looked like to me.
Yes. And I distinctly know her from something that we'll get to.
Do you? Her?
Yeah.
Of all the people in this cast, and there are some recognizable faces, she's not one of them for me.
She might be one of the best known actors to me, and because of something from my childhood.
All right.
I'm
very curious. We'll get to it.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's talk about this poster though, which is wild.
I was hoping you would not.
What is this poster? What am I looking at? This is one of the strangest posters we've ever done. And I have no idea what it has to do with the movie.
Me either, but it looks like if you folded it looks like a Mad Magazine folded.
It does, yeah.
Like, oh wait, what is this one supposed to be? So it's on white. It's just white.
Yep.
And you get an illustration, actually a pretty good comic book illustration of Yorga's face.
Yeah, that part I thought looked pretty good.
Snarling and angry and fangs and oh boy, that looks nice.
Yeah.
But okay.
Then...
But the head is set.
Yeah.
Almost as if it's stuck on a weird, like if it was an action figure head, stuck on a weird, it's not a body. It's stuck on the foot of a multi-clawed like bird or dinosaur.
I'm going full on pterodactyl foot here.
Pterodactyl foot.
That's exactly what I'm looking from. This is a Jurassic Park foot, man.
And then where his collarbones would be or shoulders, you have two hands, wrists and hands coming out.
Yeah.
They're clawed monster hands.
Yep.
One of which has an eye in the middle of the palm.
Yep.
And the other one has its own set of snarling fang teeth.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck does that have to do with anything in this movie?
I don't even know. None of the aside from Yorga's face, none of this imagery is in the movie, even remotely.
No, it doesn't play out.
Or anything. I have no idea what I'm looking at here.
And then the pterodactyl claws on top of the Return of Count Yorga.
Yeah, it's almost lifting the title up into the poster, right?
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, the Return of Count Yorga. And as the tagline proclaims, the Death Master is back from beyond the grave.
Which is good because a lot of people are sick of having to pick up after the Death Master. You left a lot of work undone, and they're like, "Come on, man, do your part."
Yeah. By the way, I think I figured out a little bit of why I presume these movies to be comedies, and I want to point you towards the VHS cover for this that's on the IMDb. It's the one that has a banner for MGM Presents Midnight Movies.
Yes.
And I think this is why passing these movies in a video store as a kid, I sort of wrote them off as spoofs because let's talk about this. He's got a lady by the throat here.
I think that's Mariette Hartley.
I think it is, but she's at a weird angle. It doesn't immediately look like her.
Yeah.
And he's got his fangs out, and he's kind of got a blank stare, and
he's got a little blood dribbling.
And then it says he's the ultimate date from hell.
Yeah.
This summer, MGM invites you to the wackiest, spookiest comedy of the year, you know.
That's a weak thing when they have to go like, all right, I mean, it's a cult film, so what we can do is, even though it's supposed to be kind of serious, let's put some sort of wacky tagline on it.
I saw this, and I thought, I think that's why a little kid like me looking for monster movies, I was like, well, that looks dumb. Yorga's silly. And the name Yorga is still silly to me no matter what. And so I think that combined with that, I'm like, forget Yorga. I'll go to...
I'm sick of your hatred of Bulgarian people, their customs, their names. Your bias against the people of Bulgaria is offensive to me.
That's my big issue, is the Bulgarians particularly. There are some other taglines for the movie, even still, because there is the Death Master is back. From beyond the grave, he's the ultimate date from hell.
The Death Master's back, and you're gonna be in trouble. Hey la, hey la. The Death Master's back.
He's the ultimate date from hell. Yeah, I just love the idea of Yorga being a bad boyfriend.
He is.
Yeah,
he is.
Don't go near Yorga's girl.
We've seen the state of his vampire brides.
Yeah, the other thing too is, man, like, I mean, look, Mariette Hartley is great, but like, maybe take care of the other 7 wives you have already, man. You've really let them go.
He's building a stable. His harem.
He really is. This guy's a collector. I might have said that last week. I've definitely mentioned that before on here. But yeah, it's true.
You did.
Yorga is a collector. That's what I want to see. Morgan Freeman hunting Count Yorga.
I want to see Morgan Freeman walk into your apartment, look at your Funko Pop figures, and go, this guy's a collector.
You know what? I've never seen Morgan Freeman in Pop Funko form, which is interesting because you would think with all the... I don't think they've ever made one of him.
No, they did the 2-pack of Driving Miss Daisy. I have that one.
Herky?
Jessica Tandy has never looked more adorable than as a Funko Pop.
But I am thinking that's odd because he's done a lot of genre stuff in France. You'd think there'd be like a Dark Knight one or something like that.
Yeah,
but no,
that'd be great.
There isn't, which is interesting. They need. Where are my 7? Where's the 7 2-pack? That's
what's in the box?
John Doe has the upper hand. Repeat, John Doe has the upper hand.
What's in the box?
And yes, for those who are asking, you and I are going on tour doing Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman from 7. We'll be performing the movie as a 2-man show.
It is crazy how much, how many people ask us about that.
We were going to do
country's
it last
ready.
year.
The country's ready.
We had to put the tour on hold because of the pandemic, but we are setting dates, so keep an eye out for that because John Campbell and Brendan Jones bring you David Fincher's 7. The unauthorized, of course. And in fact, I believe Fincher's lawyers told us specifically not to do it. But
well, that only spurs us more.
I know, that's the thing. Little did he know.
Bring it on!
That's how tickets started selling faster after that lawsuit.
Bring it on, lawman.
Yeah. There's another variation on. By the way, I had no idea that Yorga was known as the Death Master. But there's a couple that mention that. But they also say that beware of the stare.
That's okay.
Yeah, I guess. The Overlord of the Damned.
I like that one because it has no punctuation.
Nope.
It's like it's not telling you how you want to feel about it. It's just the Overlord of the Damned.
Yeah, you want to be like, is
an exclamation
doing
mark or
something? Is there more to the sentence?
Mark.
Yeah. The Overlord of the Damned?
It's
I'd
like
be on
my
board
favorite Don Knotts movie, which is The Love God? With a question mark.
I will say, having
Knotts.
seen both these Count Yorga movies, I'd be fine with that question mark because I'm like, this is the best we could do for the Overlord of the Damned?
I'd be fine with Don Knotts appearing in a Count Yorga film.
What?
Be the best.
That would be great. The last of the vampires walks again among us. That's already too wordy, but then there's more. And evil will have its bloodiest hour.
Okay.
I mean, why walks again among? Because it's a sequel. Why? I mean, but it again among us is just
And also, we don't know for a fact he's the last.
I'm
pretty sure Dracula's doing something over in England right now.
Dracula's saying, "Leave me out of this. No, I don't want to be pulled into Yorga's shit."
He's not even a real count. I'm a real count.
And then, similar to taking 2 of these and combining them together, basically is the Death Master is back, and evil will have its finest hour. Now, I think that's a good middle ground of those.
Yeah,
I think that's actually probably the best one. That's fairly succinct, and I still don't know when Yorga became the Death Master. And having seen these movies,
here's the thing that got confusing for audiences, and quite possibly the distributors did it on purpose. Robert Quarry made another vampire film that was called The Death Master.
Did he?
Yes, after these. And so people did get confused thinking it was another Count Yorga, and it's not. So
why it's
they
not
just
Count
said,
Yorga at all.
Yeah, I'm sure there was one guy.
There it is.
I want a refund.
I specifically paid for a third Yorga adventure. And it was the next year, 72, the Death Master, and he plays Korda. Ooh.
Yes.
Ooh. And he has quite the look in that movie.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, this looks way sillier. Or way wilder.
Yeah, it's its own thing.
Hey, man. Very hippie-centric here from the look and sound of it.
Yeah, I was afraid this one was starting to lean into that, and then it didn't.
I mean,
it started to.
It avoids. I mean, the last movie did more by just having that VW van in it.
Yeah. Well, but this one did have some sort of very touchy-feely stuff. Mariette Hartley's introduction in this movie, I was like, oh no.
Oh my
God. I was like, oh no, she's a flower child. Oh no, watch it. And she's not, thank God.
Well,
that opening.
Let's talk about how this movie starts, which is 5 minutes of shots of Yorga's house.
Yeah, just wandering camera in a house, and you're like, great.
Outside of the house, we go inside. Here's the living room. I was sitting here, and for a second, I thought I was watching a real estate tour, and I went, you know what?
Yeah.
What are they asking?
Yeah. I kept thinking, man, if you knock that wall out, you could have this beautiful little nook. Yeah,
I could fit all my books in here.
It's just boring. You're like, what? I don't know.
Nah. Man, movies of this era were in no hurry to get started, which is something that does kind of bother me when I watch these older things. It's like, geez, let's take 7 minutes to do credits and show nothing during it.
And that's exactly it. There's nothing.
I mean, because this is an era when James Bond is obviously in full swing, and look how I always bring things back to Bond. But look, those were movies.
We're not doing that this time.
But
that was literally 20 minutes of our last podcast.
They started with action, then exciting titles as well.
This one gets close. I mean, it starts, the house stuff isn't great.
Yeah.
But as second the credits are over, we get this riveting shot of a little boy on a lawn kicking a rubber ball. I gotta say, that was electrifying.
I knew I was in trouble the second we start on a boy throwing a ball around. I'm like, okay, here's the pacing I'm going to be watching for the next 95 minutes or whatever. All right, I see where we're going, movie. Great. Because at least the last one opened with the seance thing, so at least you're like, ooh, it's kind of supernaturally, it's kind of spooky. There's an atmosphere to begin with it. This is just a kid in a field throwing a ball around, and then a reverend looking for a woman, and I'm like, oh boy. Okay, nothing's going to happen in this one, is it? And some stuff happens.
Some stuff.
There's a real attempt at atmosphere building in this movie, and it never really lands for me.
Here's yes, and I know where you're going with it. And I also want to put our listeners at ease. Don't worry, the Reverend finds the woman.
Yes, in fact,
and the woman is a veteran actress. And really a very successful one for her time.
Oh yeah.
Known mostly from television, but also just a bunch of stuff. Mariette Hartley.
Love Mariette Hartley.
She's great.
And I was actually very happy to see when I clicked on IMDb that she's still alive.
Oh, very good. Yes.
That's one of those where I'm like, did I read that she died? No, still.
This is
still
early
out there, still working.
And she's quite young. So basically, you find her staring into the sky.
Yeah.
And that's not good. And then the Reverend comes up, and the Reverend's like, didn't you hear me calling you? And then she's like...
I can't stress how much of this early movie made me go like, oh, God.
I know.
Oh, boy.
And she's like, oh, no, I didn't. I was just so caught up in feeling the wind. And you're like, oh God, no.
I watch a lot of movies from this period, and I can tell you within 5 minutes if we're in trouble or not for the most part. Because pacing of like late 60s, especially early to mid 70s movies, it's a real crapshoot. Some of them are great. Some of them you're like, oh, this is going to be a slog. I just know it.
Well, without this opening, John, you wouldn't understand that there's this ominous presence that is spoken of, which also is not explained and is just dumb. It's shoehorned in. I lived in California for a long time, and yes, I know about the Santa Ana winds.
And you were terrified whenever they whipped up.
Oh
right?
my God, I bolted my windows. I know there is some sort of local folklore about those winds and how they bring misfortune, and it's all just bullshit, but it's also local. So what's weird about this being a national film is they're not explaining that to anyone who's never lived in California.
Both of these movies are very California-centric.
They are.
I love that we did Southern California last time. Now let's see what Northern California's up to in this movie.
Yeah, and I'm still curious as to how these corpses were moved up and how Yorga survived with all those brides.
Yorga died in L.A. last time.
Yeah.
Now he's buried with a bunch in San Francisco.
Now he's up in San Francisco.
They're all up in San Francisco.
Yeah. And he's bought a house.
And let me also... Bruda was never any kind of monster, right?
No.
And yet he's back, too.
Bruda doesn't make any sense.
No, Bruda...
Bruda doesn't make any sense in this movie.
I have the most questions about Bruda.
There was a thing where late in the movie, there's a person trapped between a bunch of vampire women and Bruda.
There's two people. It's both of the cops.
There's two people, but I'm talking about the one that acts. Mm-hmm. The one that's got the gun, and he's like, do I shoot the vampire women or do I shoot Bruda? He makes the choice, and it was a smart one, to shoot Bruda.
Yes.
And I'm thinking...
do I shoot one man or do I turn this gun at the 10 women coming at me?
But also, he knows those are undead women. Those are vampire women. So
the women he already tried to shoot earlier, and that didn't work.
But this man, who is not supernatural, got a mace in the face earlier, and now he's
to the face and to the chest. He took two mace shots.
Two mace shots, man. You don't come back from that shit.
I thought that was the end of him.
I know.
My mistake.
Never underestimate Bruda.
I mean, once again, when you talk about them retreading, that happened last time. Remember when they killed Bruda, but then he still had a last gasp before he was eventually... Oh, my God. Anyway, yeah. So we're at an orphanage.
Oh, God.
And that's another sign of trouble, man. I'm like, oh, God, an orphanage movie.
So the Reverend runs the orphanage, and Marriott Hartley plays... Is it Cynthia?
Yes. I know this because they say Cynthia about 800 times in this movie.
Including with the scary, spooky voice. Cynthia.
There's a lot of eerie voices in this movie, or what are supposed to be eerie voices, and I will say at no point was I remotely scared of anything in this film.
You were never eared? I was eared by these eerie voices.
I was mildly eared a couple times.
I was eared.
I just imagine you in your apartment, like halfway under a blanket, being like, "No, don't go in there, Cynthia."
Again, I've asked you to turn off that cam you have placed in here,
and I've repeatedly told you I will never. So
look at him, scared, watching the Return of Count Yorga. Is that it? Is he's got hot chocolate with him?
Yeah.
Anyway,
and
so she also helps run it, or she teaches the kids or something. She's got an ill-defined role there.
The orphanage is ill-defined across the board, exactly what's going on. The movie's only really interested in one of the kids of the orphanage, so it doesn't really matter.
We'll talk about how ill-defined this orphanage is very quickly. We're not there yet, but man, do I want to talk about that scene. Anyway.
Do you want to talk about the orphanage ball when we get there?
When we get there, I need to talk about it.
I have a lot to say, too.
I have a physical need to talk about it.
So the winds are whipping up, and we hear the sound of the voice of the wind, I guess?
Sure.
Because the wind, here it is, The Return of Count Yorga. The title of the movie is the wind saying, "It is time."
Yes.
What?
Rise.
Yeah, and then hands come out of the dirt in classic horror movie fashion.
It's actually, I think it's supposed to be Yorga's voice mystically traveling around.
Hey, man, either way, it doesn't make sense.
Hey, man, you're absolutely right. So what we've done is we've cut to deeper in the woods where the kid with the ball went.
Yeah.
And he has chased his adorable little rubber ball into
this kid.
A cemetery.
I gotta look this kid up.
I did too, because for half a second I thought, is this the kid from The Omen? No. I thought, is this the kid from from The Omen? And no,
he would have been too old. The Omen was after this, and he would have been, I think, younger than he is here in The Omen.
Yeah.
But he does have a similar look, but I will say, does not have the creep factor that the kid in The Omen has.
No, he's not a very good actor.
I did enjoy, not for the reasons they wanted me to, that the kid's supposed to be creepy, but he never comes off as creepy to me. He just comes off shitty.
Yeah,
like he's always just like,
little
fuck
kid.
This kid. What is his problem?
Well, he doesn't start out that way, but
No.
once he becomes a vampire's thrall, he's just a shitty kid.
I just love that. Though. It's like, I think they're supposed to be like creeped out by him. I'm just like, get this fucking kid out of here. Shut up.
He has run into the cemetery.
By the way, not much of a career this kid had.
No,
he worked for 2 solid years in Hollywood. He did a Mannix, this movie, and something else called The Little Ark.
Well, anyone who's been able to work with the amazing Mike Touch Connors is someone that I envy. But anyway, so the voice comes up with the wind saying, "Rise, it's time." And yes,
we did associate. I guess that's from the last movie, because we did associate that Yorga had wind powers last time, which.
Sort of, but this is supposed to be the Santa Ana winds.
Yeah, I know. They're confusing their own mythology in this movie.
Dude, it was easy to follow. I don't know what your problem is. So the vampire brides rise
up. Is Yorga
up.
the wind? Are the winds their own thing?
You know what this movie seems to have been is at some point, maybe between making the first one and this one, our filmmaker must have watched Night of the Living Dead. Because, I mean, the vampire brides were pretty personalityless in the first one.
Oh, yeah.
But in this one, they are zombies.
Oh,
they
yeah.
Are,
and
they
the
move
makeup
like zombies.
of them is similar
the makeup
to
of them is zombies.
the original Night of the Living Dead.
And they chow down on people instead of just drinking their blood.
And that was the case last time, but yeah, this time
true.
With the
they
look,
did nibble.
with the performances, it really is it is a vampire with an army of zombies.
Well,
which it sounded like they were actively building towards in that third movie, which you're talking about.
Which would have been
that movie sounds way cooler than this one.
Could have been possibly awesome or terrible, but
I mean, at least that's
but the
a better
scene
idea.
where
this one just
the
seems
scene
to be,
where the vampires
orphanage
where they're attacking the family in the house was so ripped off of Night of the Living Dead. I was like, okay, guys.
I mean, even the way like the arms come through the windows and stuff like that, it's all very. It's like somebody owes George A. Romero
Someone
a check.
needs to. Yeah, it's like, here you go, 50 cents.
I love the idea of George Romero and Tom Savini taking in a screening of this and going, "Hey, wait a minute!
Hey,
we did this. Stop the movie!" George Romero saying, "I have to make a phone call to my lawyer." Anyway.
Right away, Mr. Romero. But yeah, so the
What's
kid
this?
is
I don't own
there...
the rights to Night of the Living Dead. That's not good.
When the vampires rise up out of their graves, the kid starts to run, and in traditional victim fashion, he trips a couple of times.
He's running from the brides, and then he just runs right into Count
Yorga.
Yeah. Hey, Yorga, I'm back. It's a sequel to the last movie.
I just wish he was like John Candy in the Hey Yorgi sketch where he's walking and waving and smiling at everyone. Hello!
Welcome. That's right, Yorga's back, everybody.
Heard you missed me. I'm back.
Everybody liked me so much in the last movie. I came back for this one.
He never wears a frown. But so then we cut to the orphanage ball.
From the kid, and you're like, oh no, Yorga's gonna kill that kid, to the kids in the choir singing, because earlier we heard that Cynthia was supposed to help the kids rehearse their song for the orphanage ball. And what a ball it is.
Okay. Now, when we cut to this, because we had heard that earlier, it's a weird scene, but I'm like, okay, this is like the rehearsal, and maybe everyone that's in there are people who work with the orphanage, and they're already in their costumes for the ball. No. We are seeing the actual ball. And to explain what this is, picture a middle school auditorium or maybe like a gymnasium.
Yeah.
There's a little stage. There's kids singing a terrible, cheesy
ass. It's what my elementary school had, where it's the cafeteria when it needs to be and the auditorium when it needs to be.
And there's rows of chairs. Okay. So if this is the orphanage ball.
Yeah.
This orphanage is going to be subsidized by apparently 10 adults. I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, I needed to say to them, I needed to go back in time and say, hey, all these actors probably have friends and family.
Yeah, just
maybe make them sandwiches for the day and get some extras
pizzas
in here.
Or something. I don't know, man.
Holy shit! What you're looking at is. The kids outnumber the adults.
Can I also
kids
say
in the choir?
Maybe, I don't know, move the camera in a little bit too, because
there you go.
10 people and the camera's out wide to show that the 10 people are way far away and there's just tons of empty space between them and the camera. Like you are emphasizing how few people are here. There are ways to make that. You could make 10 people look like, well, 10 people's not that many, but still, there are ways to make that look like twice as big as it is, at least, just with some camera tricks.
Nothing sadder than seeing what's supposedly, I guess, like a school presentation thing where the lights are on full blast instead of like, a couple of Klieg lights or something. Yeah. Because in this case, it makes it even sadder to see this brightly lit area and 10 fully grown adults in costumes. First, they're not explained, and you're like, what the fuck is this about?
Oh, and they're all in kids, weird costumes. And the kids aren't in
costumes. They're in cute little white shirts and black pants. And they're only boys, by the way. I was like, oh, I guess all the orphan girls, tough luck. But
they don't want any shenanigans happening at the orphanage. They got to separate the genders.
Yes, as we should still to this day.
Because this is a time before homosexuals had been invented, right?
Yeah, we're not there yet. We've come a long way, baby.
It was at this time it was only Paul Lynde and Charles Nelson Riley, and they were just characters.
They were called the prototypes.
Mm-hmm. What a character!
They have built on those, and
that's
made
my favorite.
Better.
I love the idea of like Match Game or Hollywood Squares, and just like people like my grandfather just being like, those guys were real characters. Am I right?
Well, if you mean they had sex with men, yes.
Never made that jump. Just didn't.
No.
But also didn't want to ask any questions. It was like when my grandmother asked me, Elton John, does he have a wife?
Wow.
Yeah. And that was like 1999 that I was asked that question. Yeah. It's like, and my response was, he's married? Really? Yeah.
Boy, I hope that nice Waylon Flowers finally finds someone, because when he works that Madam puppet, you know the girls have to be swooning.
Man, Liberace must be drowning in ladies.
Actually, in the 50s, they did think he was a freaking ladies' man.
Which is okay.
Lock up your daughters. Liberace's coming to town. Anyway,
that's fine. I'll hang out with the boys.
He did as much as he could. So, we're looking at these people in costumes. Eventually, we're going to find out that Cynthia has a serious boyfriend who's a psychologist.
Her fiance, she says.
Her fiance. You're right. Yeah. I'm sorry.
She calls it psychiatrist and beloved fiance. She introduces him to Yorga.
Right. Yeah. That's a nice way to be introduced. She's dressed as a princess. He is our good friend Roger Perry. Is that his name from the last movie?
Yes.
Playing a different character this time with a goatee. He's dressed as Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, a costume that goes very well together. A princess and Sherlock Holmes.
Absolutely. We see her parents. We eventually find out of their parents. He is an older man dressed as a spaceman with antenna, and she's an old woman dressed as a space explorer with a helmet. We see a guy who we don't really know we don't really get to know him very well, but he's dressed as Tarzan, and apparently his girlfriend is wandering the halls. She was my favorite because she's in a bathing suit with a sash on it that declares her as Miss Naughty. I read it.
I didn't catch it. What does that
say? I was like, what's it say? And I backed up and it says Miss Naughty.
Maybe a little inappropriate for a children's event. I'm just gonna say.
No, no, John.
Hey.
No, it's not.
I think they should get back to Miss Naughty. See what
and
she's
that
up to.
That character's name is Mitzi, and she will be our first adult victim of Count Yorga.
Oh, Mitzi.
Oh, adorable Mitzi. But and so anyway, it's just mind-boggling why these people are sitting there in their fucking costumes. And Cynthia's sister is there. She's dressed as a princess also.
Yeah, but her fiance is dressed as a frog. Yeah. That adds up.
Her fiance is a British guy.
I was going to say everybody's costumes except Tarzan and Miss Naughty don't really go together, but
well, they do, but again, only in my fan fiction.
Tarzan finds his way into
Tarzan and Miss Naughty.
Tarzan stumbles into a very odd pageant of some sort.
Tarzan is a celebrity judge at a beauty pageant.
Tarzan like Miss Naughty. Cheetah agree.
Could Miss Naughty tell Tarzan what she would do to make world peace?
Jane not like Miss Naughty as much as Tarzan.
She quite catty about her abilities in talent portion of. She no fan of juggling, but retired.
So
sorry. Okay. So 10 people in costumes
when we
is
cut
the entirety
to Cynthia,
of the ball.
watching this, there are just tears streaming down her face.
Oh, yeah, that's mysterious.
I don't know what that means
though. She feels the foreboding of the Santa Ana winds.
I guess because as Mitzi is walking through the halls, she hears Yorga's voice, saying, "Hello, Miss Naughty." No, I don't know.
He actually says her name.
Yeah,
He actually just says Mitzi, and you're like, how did you? Yes. She's like, yes, and then he bites her.
So we don't actually see that.
Well, he leans in.
Yeah, he leans in. A figure leans in. We don't really get a good shot at Yorga here. He's mysterious.
What are you saying? It's a stunt double?
It's mysterious. Because
it's very mysterious.
I guess
also, I forgot to mention one of the grown adults at the ball is dressed as Dracula.
A very shitty Dracula, and yet somehow winning the costume contest.
Yeah, okay. This also blew me away.
Shit.
When the kids' choir stops singing, the kids like, get the fuck out of there. And then it's literally just a hall full of 10 grown adults in costumes.
Hey, this party's for adults only. Talk to Miss Naughty about that.
And one kid who's playing the piano. This I did enjoy. This scene. This isn't my favorite scene, but there's a kid who's playing the piano. No, this isn't it. And he's playing like pseudo rock on the piano. This is like an 11 or 12-year-old kid, and he looks up, and there's Count Yorga, very nicely dressed as Count Yorga.
Oh yeah.
I know I've jumped ahead a little bit. But anyway, so he's playing, and he goes, "Hey, you like this kind of music?" And Count Yorga goes, "When it's played well."
I did love that. I was
like, whoa!
One of the things I like I like and don't like from an actual movie standpoint, but I enjoy just for entertainment's sake, is Yorga can't not just be an ass in situations.
I loved that.
And also is always
he's an immoral who's casting shade on a 12-year-old boy.
But is also like,
he's been around for centuries. He's like, you think I'm going to let you be proud for 1 second? No.
But also is always just like, oh, really? You don't think they're vampires? Well,
I know.
I might be a vampire. You almost
like, you ever seen one? And he goes, yeah, yes. Maybe I have.
Yes, I have.
Thank you, Will Ferrell. Oh, yes. Yes, I have.
Can Will Ferrell remake Count Yorga, please? I would love to see Will Ferrell.
I did jump ahead a little bit. So Marriott Hartley runs out of
because she's so overtaken by emotion and
from this stupid little song.
She's a lady.
Yeah, I guess that's the reason. And Count Yorga approaches her in the hallway and basically immediately sexually harasses her.
Yeah, well, because it is like she runs outside and then he just sort of appears and was like, "What's the matter, pretty lady?"
Yeah. And she goes, "Do I know you?" And he goes, "I'm Count Yorga." And she goes, "A real count?" He's like, "Yeah." And she goes, "Oh, so this isn't a costume." Because he's dressed in the cape and all the
uniform fancy of your average count.
And he's like, "No, not a costume at all."
Yeah, so she
and she goes, "Did the security guard let you in? How did you get in here? Do you know any of these children?"
No, he goes, and this seems to make it cool that he's wandering around. He goes, "I've recently acquired the mansion next door." And she goes, "Oh, well, then we're neighbors. Come on in." And
Come on in.
"Don't mind if I do."
But he also says, I don't remember what the context is, but he's like going, "Oh," she goes, "Yeah, we're practically neighbors." She goes, "In fact, well, I've often looked at that house." And he goes, "I know." And she goes, "What?" And he goes, "And you look quite beautiful by moonlight."
Mm-hmm.
You're like, "What the fucking hell?"
"I've seen you through my telescope." Yes. I mean, just looking out the window casually.
And all I'm saying is that it must have been cold out there.
Mm-hmm.
Pew! And then she very awkwardly backs away.
Mm-hmm.
No, she's quite taken with him immediately. He's very suave and charming.
Well, oh my god,
he's a count.
This explains
the
outfit.
Told her she's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Within seconds of meeting her, and then he's invited in, and that's where he hears the piano music and makes fun of the kid.
Yeah. This is where we find out that Cynthia's sister is engaged to Jason, who is the guy in the frog costume.
Tall, skinny British guy.
Yeah, who is a real non-presence in this movie. He's around, just a non-presence.
He gets an awkwardly slow-mo death scene later.
Yorga meets David, who is, yes, both Cynthia's fiance and the psychologist of the school. And immediately you get the sense that Yorga's like, don't care for him.
Mm-hmm.
And also David, it seems like, also in the classic Roger Perry role in this goes, something's off about this guy right from the moment he meets him. There's a tension between them. Then we meet the deaf gal, Jennifer is the deaf
Jennifer.
girl. And
but she's not deaf.
Oh,
God damn it.
She's mute. I don't know what she is. She's afflicted.
Wow. Man, you're showing your stripes.
And Yorga impresses everyone by knowing sign language. Yeah. And also drops a thing: when you've lived as long as I have, you pick up. It is almost Yorga is so desperate for people to find out he's a vampire. It seems like
he walks around this movie and the last one with this sandwich board. You know, it actually says "I'm a vampire" underlined twice. And then when he turns around and you see the back part of it, it says, "No, really."
Seriously, ask me about my vampirism.
Be a vampire now. Yeah. Ask me how.
Yeah. Because it is just like, well, when you've lived as long as I have, you acquire some skills. And then it's
you mean sign language? Yeah. Okay, that's impressive.
Yeah, but it's like possible.
A cousin of mine learned it over a summer, but I guess you've been around for centuries.
The same scene is in Miracle on 34th Street. Let's be honest.
It is.
Yeah,
it is. And also, Santa drained that child of blood, I believe.
That was actually in the original cut of the movie. Those scenes were taken out.
This is not playing the way I thought it would. Really not playing the way I thought.
Little known fact, Miracle on 34th Street started as a horror picture, and then they cut out all the horror stuff, and it became a nice family movie.
Don't you get it? He sees you while you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. At the
end of the movie, he's actually not Santa. He's a vampire who has fooled everyone into thinking he's Santa. Anyway,
don't give Trauma any ideas, because like Santa vampire.
They have to have already made that, right?
Or Sandpire.
That's low-hanging
done
fruit. If they've made Poultrygeist, they've made Santa vampire.
Poultrygeist.
Yeah, Poultrygeist.
That's got to be good.
Oh, it's a classic. I think that was
is that next week?
Yes, Poultrygeist is next week. Yeah.
Okay.
God, no, we can't with the trauma. I would not survive that.
No.
So the thing I was gonna say though is this is Yvonne Wilder who is playing Jennifer. And I said I know her extremely well because as a child, growing up in the 90s, I was a huge fan of the sitcom Full House. And she played John Stamos' mother on Full House.
Get out of my town.
Absolutely, yes.
No. I've called U-Haul. Start putting things in boxes.
All right.
Move away from Portland.
All right. I knew this day would come. Yeah, she played Irene Katsopoulos.
Wow.
Mother
she had a career.
Jesse Katsopoulos, who was the uncle on Full House, played by John Stamos. And what a hunk he was.
Uncle Jesse. He was the hot one.
He was so cool. And also, I always thought he and Saget were a lot better than Dave Coulier. It's a controversial opinion, I know.
You've just never seen Coulier's unhinged stand-up.
No, I've seen Coulier's stand-up, and
that shit's on fire.
It's far from unhinged. I think he does
on fire.
Still tour with the clean guys of comedy, to which I'm like, you know what? No thanks. I don't have an issue if you're a clean comic, but I do start to, when you advertise yourself as specifically clean, I'm going...
Amazing that the clean comic was on a successful program with one of the filthiest comics of all time.
I know. That's why
I love that.
That's why older me really took to Saget when I was in like middle school and stuff. I'm like, oh, this guy is talking my language.
Can you imagine the kind of stuff he must have said on set around probably, preteen actors?
I have heard stories that apparently there was a lot of directors and producers going, Bob, there are kids.
Bob.
Yeah. And Saget has talked about it was very hard to get a hold on that.
Yeah.
So I was fucking this girl. Oh God, sorry, Mary-Kate and Ashley just walked in. Oh Jesus.
Oh God.
Oh boy.
All right. So
anyway, yes, she's here she is doing this very broad performance as a woman who is suffering from some kind of disability and is unable to speak. At the very least, she is definitely mute. We can agree on that. Her inability to hear goes back and forth depending on the scene.
People will just talk to her and she gets it.
But then other times people specifically sign to her.
Yes.
So I don't understand what's
Maybe
happening.
She's lip reading. I mean, I guess it's a possibility, but I could swear there's a couple scenes where she's not looking at them.
The movie couldn't give a shit.
It really doesn't.
All they want is the tension of this woman witnessing things and being unable to say anything about it.
Right. And apparently she can't write anything down. Come on.
Nobody even offers that.
No,
it's all just a lot of like pointing and
here's a pad and a paper.
A lot of that shit, which is just does not play well to modern day.
There's a scene where she sees horrifying things and she can't scream, so it's just this sort of breathing.
That was the clip they submitted for Oscar consideration.
You know they did.
Yeah. So yes, Yorga impresses everyone. He knows sign language. Mm-hmm. Then Mariette Hartley cuts her finger on a glass or something.
While she's talking to Yorga.
And Yorga says, "Oh, let me see that. An old Bulgarian trick." And an old Bulgarian trick is he puts her finger in his mouth.
Yeah.
Which, look, in polite company, I thought that was not cool, but maybe that's just me living now in the post-Me Too times, and this used to be fun.
Well, all I know is it works for me in bars all the time. So you're missing out, buddy.
Hey, you cut your finger, honey? Come over here. I got an old
Come over here. Let me show you something they do in Bulgaria. Unlike my friend John, I love the Bulgarians. I know all their tricks. Here's one.
I'm pretty sure no one would ever come near you if you ever said, "I'll show you something they do in Bulgaria." Nothing against the Bulgarians, just that doesn't sound like it's going anywhere good.
The way that hits the ear,
come here, honey.
Not so good.
Let me show you how they do it in Bulgaria.
It mainly has an effect when you say it to men.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Look, that's the way I get around it. I'm not sexist, so I call man, woman, I call them all honey.
I know you do. I know you do.
Honey, you want to grab me a beer?
All right, John, but you got to stop calling me that.
Never. So Yorga does that. Then a woman comes. Oh, this is where they're having some fun. Where a woman comes up and is like, "Oh, look at your costume! What a great vampire costume!"
Yeah.
Aha. And then the guy in the other vampire costume is like, "Well, I thought mine was pretty good."
Yeah.
And
don't forget, the shitty Dracula is the one that wins the costume contest.
Yes, with his caked on white face paint and cheap as hell vampire fangs.
Yeah.
So anyway, then Tommy comes running in saying he can't sleep. Can he stay at Cynthia's tonight? And they yeah, nice move, Tom. Hey,
that's the way you do it, Tommy.
Hey, sweetheart, I can't get no sleep tonight. Can I come over and stay at your place? That's what the Bulgarians do, baby.
Hey, this is called the old Bulgarian invite.
Hey, Yorga was telling me about this trick earlier today when I ran into
for the old Bulgarian sleepover, if you know what I mean.
Kid smoking a cigar.
I can't state it enough to our listeners. This is just riffing off the stuff in the movie, and I have known many Bulgarians, wonderful people. It's a beautiful land. I would love to visit someday.
I'm sure it is.
But we're going to keep making these stupid jokes because we had to watch this movie.
We are making fun of this movie's depiction of Bulgarians, not actual Bulgarians. To our Bulgarian listeners,
or anyone you know is actually named Yorga,
yeah,
or is perhaps a member of royalty, Bulgarian royalty.
If anything, I'm upset that Corey didn't lean into the Bulgarian of the performance. That's my biggest issue.
He does no accent.
No. So anyway, he wins the costume contest, this Dracula guy, and even I do like the way this guy's like, really?
Yeah, I did.
Even he's like,
pretty good.
For this piece of shit, okay.
Yeah, they do give him a beat where he goes, huh, really? This is some bullshit.
And then this is where the debate about, of course, there aren't real vampires, and
Yorga can't leave it alone.
Well, no, David, who's the psychologist, says, well, there are vampires. I mean, not in the classical sense, but there are people who, for whatever psychological reasons, feel they need to drink blood. And then Yorga just immediately goes, no, why do you dismiss vampires in the classical sense?
Yeah, yeah. Tell me that, smart guy.
In fact, maybe one is standing right here. No, it's just like he just...
Well, they do say it's like, well, I mean, come on, I can't say for sure, but they can't really be. They go, have you seen a vampire? And he goes, what if I have?
Yeah.
And he's just like,
What
Yorga,
then?
stop it.
No, he is not doing the Dracula thing where he's trying to insert himself into society. He is trying to be like, I'm the guy who believes in vampires. In fact, so much. Maybe I am one.
Yeah. It's probably not wise to be putting that kind of spotlight on yourself when you've actually left someone bled out in this building.
Because no one
in this very building.
No one is talking to Yorga in this scene. It is him going, well, there are vampires, but not like they are in the books. And then Yorga, out of nowhere, just goes, oh, really? And what makes you say that?
And while all this is happening, Tarzan guy's like, Mitzi.
Yeah.
Has anyone seen Mitzi?
Has anyone seen Mitzi? She was dressed as Miss Naughty. I hope no one took that the wrong way at this party.
Oh, boy, did they ever.
Yeah. She got a little too into character, apparently. So that happens. Then they go to take a photo of her. Hey, everyone, how about a picture? And Yorga does a very smooth and subtle move of quickly lifting up his cape to hide himself during the picture.
Yeah. Which also shows that Yorga doesn't know how his own vampire powers work. Because
it won't matter.
Because the clothes that the vampire wears also disappear.
Which has always been kind of weird to me, but
yeah. Just like, how can they turn into a bat, but their clothes are there when they come back out? It's like, wait.
Yeah, they have power over the clothing on them as well.
Yes.
It's a thing you have to buy, but also, if Yorga knows that, then what is the point of doing this anyway?
I wish I could answer that.
Because at first I thought, oh, okay, so that's going to be later. We're going to see a photo where he's just holding the cape. No, he'll just be gone, of course. And so then that doesn't help him because that is still evidence against him later. Brilliant stuff. Great screenwriting here.
I got to say, Yorga continues to be, from the first movie to this one, even though I like him as the actor...
I like Robert Quarry. I don't know that I like the character of Yorga.
No, the personality he's given him is good, but the script, both scripts, try to pretend like he's this brilliant guy who's been around for centuries, but he plays things much more stupidly than any of the Hammer Draculas. And you're like, what the hell are you doing, man?
Way sooner than any Dracula we've seen, people are onto this guy.
Right. Plus, there's also the idea of, it's also true in shows like Dexter and so forth. It's like, you don't shit where you eat. If you're a killer, then maybe not attacking the people who live right across from you, because again, they're going to start putting pieces together. Maybe the vampire in San Francisco goes somewhere else. He goes to the Mission District and he kills, and then he comes back to this area, and they never connect.
I'm going to let it slide, but I am not one to hear any unkind words about Dexter Morgan on here, so I will just say...
No, that wasn't unkind words. In fact, Dexter makes a point of doing that. It's like that's the whole point of how canny a serial killer should be.
All I'm saying is he is returning this fall, and I am looking forward to it.
I am tentatively looking forward to it because... there are many ways it could go terribly wrong.
But this is the one that's meant to fix everything. So, original showrunner's back, and this time they're going to get it right, he says. So,
okay.
I hope so, because I do love that character and Michael C.
Hall's
performance. Love to see Michael C. Hall in some kind of horror thing. That would be cool. That's other than Dexter, but like a supernatural. I don't know if he would be a vampire or somebody going up against a vampire, but I just like that guy.
He's always given off to me a more of a scientist vibe, so I wouldn't mind him being a Frankenstein doctor.
Yeah. I could see him doing something like that. That'd be very cool. He does portray an intelligence that just comes across.
Yeah, I mean, I love an intelligent vampire, and you know what? You should make him a vampire simply because. The reason I was saying I didn't come to mind with him as a vampire is because his look is not traditional. I'm like, yeah. And then I'm like, no, you need to go contrary to, aristocratic European looking dudes, dark-haired guys.
There's going to be some more modern vampires.
Word.
Yeah. Not Yorga, though. He makes a point of telling you how old he is constantly. So then, yes, oh my God, a woman comes screaming in going, Mitzi, something happened to Mitzi. She's out in the hallway.
Wow, you did write the dialogue down.
And everybody runs out. And even Yorga gives a oh no, what happened to Mitzi?
Who is this Mitzi and what has happened to her?
And so they're helping her up and she's like, I don't know what happened. And then, of course, it's David who goes, Might it have something to do with these 2 marks on your neck?
Yeah,
You know,
I know.
And
This is
literally
literally
we were just talking about
minutes.
vampires.
3 minutes since they were talking about vampires. That kills
Where'd that
me.
Yorga guy go? He was insisting vampires are real, and now a woman has been bitten. I wonder.
Good Lord.
Because here's what if I was actually in the situation, I wouldn't make the jump to vampires are real, but I would think this guy's probably some kind of serial killer who is mimicking vampires at the very least.
Yes.
He seems very mysterious and dangerous.
And then you would be proven wrong, and you would be frightened to discover it was a real vampire. And then you would have to do what these guys do, which is find a couple of sticks.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
I think these movies think they're clever for being like, well, you couldn't just find a wooden stake around, so let's come up with some... No. Just
them finding sticks for stakes, sticks for stakes, that doesn't bother me as much as the whole thing of like, well, geez, where are you going to find a crucifix? We have to tie sticks together. Both of the Yorga movies do that. I'm like, come on, man. Crosses and crucifixes you can get at Walmart. Don't try to tell me that you the only way we're ever going to get across is by using rubber bands and two twigs.
In this one, they do pull one off the wall at the Reverend's place at one point, but that doesn't last long. So anyway, she's a little... shaken up and missing some blood probably, but she seems reasonably okay right now.
Yeah, this was just a quick fix. It's not she hasn't been turned or drained.
But we do go home with Yorga, where we see him walking through his house, and we see all the very disturbing-looking vampire brides who have seen better days. No question about that. And Bruda.
I was
back,
really thrown by
happy to see my favorite character from the first movie, Bruda, return.
I know. I
have a different favorite character in this movie because he doesn't get enough things. But
that one text where you just put Bruda.
Yeah,
I was like, all right, I know what you're. Yeah, I get it.
He's back, baby.
He's back, baby, and he looks about the same.
Death did no harm nor favors for him.
They kept the same latex mold, I guess, and they're like, oh yeah, we can just run another one.
Still waiting for that team up of him and Torgo, but
I know
that when they start doing road pictures, a la Crosby and Hope.
We're off on the road to Morocco.
We don't know when we'll be getting back.
I can't wait for that. But in this thing, all right, so in the previous one, the vampire brides were pretty somnambulic. Somnambulic.
There's a 50-cent word there, Brendan.
Well, is all I have to say.
That's my education.
But they were, they were attractive women in gauzy nightgowns.
Yeah.
In this case, they're not attractive women. They've also been made to look like zombies.
That's a strange choice, I thought, for this movie. I mean, it's definitely it's an unconventional choice of the vampire brides, who are usually some form of sexy and alluring while hiding their monstrous nature.
These ladies have zombie makeup on. They do later in the movie look a little better. I think they're trying to imply that the more they've eaten, the more they're healing or something.
That would be nice if that was made expressly clear, though, in some scene, which it
would.
The script
also,
has
here's
no
the thing.
interest in.
Why would you, if you're Yorga, you've got centuries ahead of you, and you are very full of your own intelligence and how brilliant you are, and you're building your harem of vampire brides. Why would you want these women around at all? They speak not at all. They stagger around. They're not sexy. I'm just like, Dracula's brides gave him sass. They had intelligence still. They were, subservient because he was Dracula. But I sit here looking at Yorga's harem and going, Jesus Christ, why didn't you just let them stay dead? One of them does have the biggest beehive wig I've ever seen.
And she stands out in every shot of them as a group. It's always just
she
like,
looks
there's
like
that
Lisa
wig.
Marie in Mars Attacks.
Yes! By the way, did you see, this is Portland specific, but they do the movies on the Lloyd Center rooftop summer series, and they're showing Mars Attacks as one of the movies.
That would be fun to watch on the roof.
I think I'm going to go to that because that's...
I might, because you know what?
I love that movie.
I really want to get a chance at that Delta variant, so I might do that.
You are much more concerned about that than that may be an age thing though, as I think about it.
I'll start making out with whoever's on that roof.
Oh, that's my policy whenever I walk in anywhere. I state, I'll make out with anyone.
I know. It was right up there with your Bulgarian trick.
Yeah.
And
we'll do it the Bulgarian way.
But yes, I also thought it was hilarious that he has, wherever he gets a house, he makes like a big harem room, like his throne room.
Yes, that's because that's what he does here. He comes through, they all follow him into this room, and then he just sits in his throne, and I thought, is he going to address them? Nope. He says nothing and just like he stares out at them.
Just like he did in the first movie. Just like he's like looking at him like, yeah, there they are.
Of all the things, I am thrilled they brought this back in this movie. That they had him do. Like, that's just what Yorga does, baby.
And here's another thing I loved about it, that set, is those coffins. Those coffins were made by high school theater students.
Yeah.
They are the fakest, like balsa wood looking painted gray.
They borrowed those from a production of Our Town happening at a local
sure did.
school down the street.
They borrowed that from a production of Red, White, and Blaine.
Yes. More Guffman
Now, don't get me
references.
started talking about beans. We'll be here all night.
Oh, my God.
Yes, sir, I love beans.
Oh, man.
Yeah, Waiting for Guffman is an infinitely quotable film.
It is. That might be my favorite of the. It's either that or I do love A Mighty Wind as well.
I love the first 4 guest movies equally, but Guffman being the first out of the box is still the one that kills me.
It hits me in the right spot with the local theater. Like, that's a world I know. I know those types. I've met Corky St. Clair's.
Yes.
Definitely. There are a lot of Corkies out there.
I buy all of my wife's clothes. I get her pantsuits.
You know what's interesting? We never see him with his wife, and she seems to be out of town a lot.
Well, he's married to a woman named Bonnie, but I don't think we've ever met Bonnie. God damn, I love that movie. All right, anyway.
Much better than Return of Count Yorga. Go watch Waiting for Guffman. So yes, we just see that's it. That's the extent of the scene. He walks in, he sits on his throne, and he looks at these people, and you're like, all right, he's got the team back together.
You know what you might have done with a scene like that? You might have actually, as the writer, wanted to expand on his burgeoning feelings for Cynthia. You might have him say something to the brides or to Bruta about something strange has happened. I find myself
I just wanted him to be like, well, it is good to be back, everybody.
It kind of is a little bit like
Yorga's back. I got my throne. I got my harem. I got my main man, Bruta.
Yeah. I do a little History of the World Part 1 and go, it's good to be the Count.
Yeah. That would have been nice. I just would like any moment of character for Yorga. Anything. Ever letting me know what he's feeling, wanting, thinking.
Well, you do get that later. But again, it's dropped in a line where you're like, this was a love story?
I understand that he wants Cynthia. I have no idea like why her, why not the sister,
why not Marriott Hartley. Well, and she listens to the wind.
I mean, Marriott Hartley.
Why wouldn't you want Cynthia?
Marriott Hartley is very lovely and charming. Actually, kind of not in this movie. I was initially, when I saw it was Marriott Hartley, I thought, oh, she's good. And then as I was watching, I'm going, they have given her nothing. They've given her nothing to do. No, this is not nearly the material she has in the second season premiere of The Incredible Hulk.
When you get extended scenes of her having no dialogue but just looking scared and checking doorknobs. Oh my God, and having flashbacks. I
am not gonna lie about this. I fast forwarded through some of those scenes of wandering around with doors because I'm just going, nothing's happening. No one else is here. There's no dialogue. Yep. And I would just use the little skip 15-second button. More than a fast forward, just like still nothing. That
means you probably did miss some monochromatic flashback sequences.
Oh no, I saw those. But once those were established, I'm like, those are going to keep coming. So it's like, by God, the pacing. And the pacing.
But you're about to get a scene that must have been one of your favorites.
Are you talking about this scene where everyone's afraid of the wind?
No, you're about to get a massacre.
Well,
pretty quickly.
Yes, it's a okay massacre.
It's literally that same night, I think.
It is. And so it's everybody, we find out they all live together, Cynthia and her parents and her sister, and Tommy, who's spending the night because he's scared. But now everybody's scared of the wind.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's like,
except for the old man at first, who's like, "You fucking sissies."
He goes, "Oh, I'm stuck with these women. They're scared of wind noises." And then something taps at the window, and he goes, "Well, I guess maybe I'm scared too."
And then
let's make some hot tea and stay up tonight because of the scary wind.
Yeah, they give the kid hot cocoa. And I gotta say, this kid is terrible throughout this movie, but his fake drinking is particularly bad. It's like it is like a little kid just going, good, yum, 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 tea.
You say that, but that literally started his actor reel. His actor reel began with that.
That and an intense scene between him and Mike Connors on Mannix.
And the voiceover is, sometimes you really have to drink in life. And then it's just him doing that scene from Yorga. It's good stuff.
By the way, Philip Frame is this kid's name. I don't think we've said that. He was in season 4, episode 18 of Mannix.
Did we need to? Did you need to give him a shout out?
Well, I own every episode of Mannix, so I could go track this one down.
And I have a feeling you will. That's not idle threat.
Yeah, this will be later tonight. I'll be back next week with a review of season 4, episode 18 of Mannix, "The Crime That Wasn't."
There's a scene in it where the kid drinks a Coke, much more convincing than he did his work in Yorga.
I think Connors gave him a few tips on that one.
His work in Yorga. Jesus. All right.
Back when I was
moving on.
The same year, by the way, he did the Mannix and Yorga the same year.
That was a heady year for Mr. Frame.
Oh, a married couple is scared into silence by a gangster who they saw run down his girlfriend, but their young boy tries to hire Mannix for help.
Man! When it's a kid hiring the detective.
Yeah, that is one of about 25 episodes of Mannix where a kid tries to hire Mannix. So there
you go.
They love that idea. In fact, Chris Knight, who played Peter on the Brady Bunch, did one where he tried to hire Mannix in the first season. So,
you just sold a box set, my friend.
That's right. Yeah. Now I got to own all of Mannix.
I'll be picking that up.
I do own all of Mannix because I love Mannix.
I watched it as a kid. I'm not. That's not one I need to have. I have fond memories.
I mean, we've long established my love of old detective shows.
I'm not buying Ironsides, no matter how much. Barnaby Jones, maybe. Someday,
those ones I do not have. I will say I do not have Barnaby Jones or Ironside. Even I have my limits. But Simon and Simon, you better fucking believe
debatable.
Simon and Simon. One was from the city, one was from the country, and they solved crimes. It was the best.
It's probably the best show that they ever made.
I think so.
Let's keep going with some Yorga.
Oh God, do we have
what happened next? What happens next?
Well, one of the shutters on the window smacks the old man in the face.
That's right.
That was pretty good. I didn't, though. He just seems dazed by it. It did no physical damage to him.
I thought again it was strange that the audio cue for that was the trombone. Wah, 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 wah.
I will say
weird.
That
weird
is
touch movie.
That is a joke, but I will say there are a lot of weird sound choices in this movie.
There are,
as there were in the last movie. Like the scary sounds in the Yorga movies they don't scare me as much as they perplex me. Like, what is making that noise?
You can kind of see what they're going for, and then you realize that they're terrible at their job.
It's a lot because it is a lot of like.
Yes, they're trying to go for that quasi psychedelic scary thing that actually a lot of the European movies nailed.
Well, do effectively because they were better filmmakers.
Generally.
Yes, but this era of European horror movies, there's a lot of good stuff.
There is.
That isn't Robert Quarry in vampire makeup running towards the camera. And that a lot of those sequences are the one where the music is going.
That can't be helped. There is nothing that can help those scenes.
Because it is a middle-aged man in stupid makeup just running at the camera.
It's also confusing when Yorga is vampire made up and when he's just handsome Robert Quarry. You're like, why is Yorga now pale with the shadowed cheekbones where he wasn't before? Now he is.
They're almost going for like what Buffy did later, where there's like a vampire mode, except for it's
the vampire
stupid.
mode. Yeah, except for it's stupid. The end. And I think you're right.
And then, yes, following that shutter hit, we see a woman's hand just crash through the glass of the window here.
Oh my god!
And yeah, you can't not think of Night of the Living Dead. It is an exact lift of the. I think even the framing is exactly the same as this, and then everybody coming through the doors and windows of this place, and yeah, just tearing this family to pieces.
I will say, it's not well done.
No, that's my problem.
And also,
in
they
concept,
drag it out.
I'm on board for a family being massacred.
They drag it out too much.
They do. It's another example of this already doesn't look good. Why are you putting so much of it in the movie?
But the implied savagery is at least eye-opening, where you're like going, holy fuck.
Oh, yeah.
Sis is down, mom's down, dad's down. They're all being slaughtered by vampire women that are now feasting on them. And you're like, wow. If this were better done, this would be a startling scene.
Yeah, and then they carry Marriott Hartley out of the place and over to Yorga's, where he hypnotizes her to not remember any of this.
Yeah,
and
that's
also,
a cheap out.
I am your friend. Which, here's the thing, man. If you're Count Yorga and you have these amazing powers of hypnosis, keep going with the hypnotism. I mean, so I like that he's like, well, I want her to love me for who I am, so I'll make her think I'm her friend, but then she still has to come to me for the romantic side of it. But also doesn't include, like, you don't want to leave, because later she's like, oh, why am I staying here? Why? And he doesn't hit her again with more hypnosis going, you want to stay here. No, he just sort of does this one and it's over.
And she starts doing the thing of like, well, can I at least call my folks? And he's like, no, you don't want to. You really shouldn't.
Why not hypnotize her to go, you talk to your folks, they're doing well, or whatever. No, he's
not a very smart vampire.
No, Yorga forgets his own hypnotic powers at a certain point in this movie.
Yeah, exactly.
They make Yorga so powerful, but then they have to back it off in order for anyone to defeat him.
Do you know
later.
why he's in America instead of back in Bulgaria? It's the Vampire Union kicked him out of Europe.
Yeah, it's the Dracula thing where it's like, we don't like this guy.
You're just not living up to your. You keep forgetting parts of your powers. You do that slow motion run that's embarrassing. Stop it.
I can't even look at him. I can't even look at Yorga anymore. Please get him out of my sight. There was a unanimous vote. You're done, Yorga. Go to America.
Orlok, what do you say? He's out.
Yeah.
What do you say, Varna? Oh, he's totally out. I agree. He's out.
It is that scene from season 1 of What We Do in the Shadows with the Vampire Council.
Yes, the Vampire Council, which killed me.
I think Wesley Snipes voted him out.
Oh, it was so great.
And
they had Paul Rubens. Oh man,
Paul Rubens and Evan Rachel Wood and
it was so good.
But what Tom and Brad were too busy to show up, so they couldn't get them. Their schedules were too busy. There's one for when we get to the 90s. We'll get to Interview with the Vampire.
Yes,
it'll be an interesting one. I've not seen that in a long time.
Remember liking it.
I do too, but it's been quite a while since I've revisited that one.
I had to really get over the casting, but then I really liked it.
I think a lot of people did, but I think he won most people.
Tom Cruise is a good actor, full stop. He just isn't what people had in their heads when they read about Lestat.
But then I feel like most people were kind of cool with it when they actually saw the movie.
Because he can sell it.
Yeah, I know. He's great.
We're not going to have this fight again. Just move on.
You won't hear it from me. If you're saying good things about Cruise, then I'm way on board.
He's my spiritual mentor. He led me all the way up the ladder.
Have you heard the good word about Xenu?
Level 32, buddy.
So he tells
crossing the bridge.
He tells Cynthia she was in a car accident and she has to stay there and rest. Meanwhile, was it Jennifer? Comes in and finds, because she didn't. Well, she must be deaf because she didn't hear this shit.
She wasn't in that house.
I thought she was in the house.
I don't think she was.
So wait, she was just coming over in the middle of the night because it's scary, I guess.
I don't think it's the middle of the night. I think it's like the next morning or something.
I don't know. It still looked dark in there. Maybe it's early morning. Look, this movie doesn't really work, is what I'm saying here.
And that was their last podcast. It came down to some sort of fight about a deaf, possibly mute, possibly woman.
It broke
and
us
what
up.
time she entered a room.
A lot of people say they could have been the best if they'd never had that argument, but that severed the partnership right there.
I'm just sad they never got to Lost Boys. The end.
Cry, little sister. I have to do that if anyone says Lost Boys. It's an instinct.
Well, also I have to take off my shirt and play the saxophone.
Yeah, I cosplay a sexy sax man a lot.
Sexy sax man.
So she finds the massacred family, and yes, we do get. Oh my God, she's going for it here with the fake screaming.
Yeah, she can't utter
scream.
a scream. Oh,
but apparently
moving.
she is able to get the attention of the well, and amongst all this carnage is just Tommy, creepy little kid.
Yeah,
except he's not creepy; he's just kind of an asshole.
He's just kind of an asshole, ladies and gentlemen.
Which we'll get in this next scene because we then cut to the cops have rolled up.
Yeah,
I guess she signed or wrote or something.
A whole passel of people show up. It's cops and it's psychologist guy. What's his name again?
David.
Sure, let's go with that.
And I think the Reverend is here too.
And the Reverend. Yeah, it's just like
I think Jason, the British guy, is here as well.
Yeah.
And our two cops.
Because the one thing you want to do when there's been a multiple homicide is you want to invite as many strangers who aren't cops into a crime scene to have them track through the evidence.
Rudy DeLuca plays Lieutenant Madden here.
And I've seen him. He's a character actor,
well,
especially in 70s TV.
And he's in almost all of Mel Brooks's movies. Because he also co-wrote most of Mel Brooks's movies.
Really?
This guy, yeah. Let's see here. Starting with Silent Movie, High Anxiety.
Wow.
Life Stinks. Dracula Dead and Loving It. He wrote all those with Mel. And he's in History of the World Part 1, Spaceballs. Yep. Yeah, he's in a lot of stuff. He's in 2 episodes of Curb Your Enthusiasm, and they're both ones with Mel Brooks. So clearly, he's just Mel Brooks' guy.
That's not a bad person to be.
No.
And he started on a really strong one with Mel, but yeah, they don't. He wrote Transylvania 6-5000, so I have some problems with the man.
I think that's on our list of movies for the 80s. He wrote and
Transylvania
directed.
6-5000.
Yeah, I think we're covering that one next season.
All right, I'm ready.
I mean, love me some Goldblum.
Oh, yeah. And Gina Davis is in that one, and she's at the height of her young ingenue Gina Davis-ness.
That must have been when they were together.
Yeah. Also, when they did Earth Girls Are Easy together.
That is not Earth Girls Are Easy, but I was going to say, like, the two of them together, that is an attractive and very tall couple.
Yes, they are. Very tall.
So we have Rudy DeLuca's Lieutenant Madden, and then my actual favorite character in the movie is the screen debut of Craig T. Nelson as Sergeant O'Connor. I love Craig T. Nelson is really making choices as this absolute nothing part of this cop. But
there is nothing to this part, and he
is
gives
selling
it.
All. He is really trying to play a character.
He really is.
And you can see, you're like, oh man, this guy is going places.
Yeah.
Craig T. Nelson. So, I mean, long before his days as coach, but he's really acting. He's hungry. He's hungry. He's a young, hungry actor.
That's what it looks like. And you see that a lot. Actually, you see it with almost every young actor starting out, but you will really see it in people that actually have talent, that eventually do have careers. But, you know, it's their first role, so you see them like going, I'm going to dig my teeth into this thing. You're like, you have 8 lines. You have 8 lines in a Yorga movie, but he is actually bringing a character. They get comic beats. Which is really out of place or weird in this movie, but he and his detective partner actually have like bits they do.
No, they turn into this weird little comedy duo down the stretch in this movie that I was like, I kind of just want to watch this movie.
And also, they're incredibly stupid cops as well, because, almost every decision they make is really stupid. I think Craig T. Nelson's character is the one that says, I'm not gonna take no sticks. It's like, you won't see me grabbing sticks. I'm like, oh, okay, all right.
Hey!
So you have no protection against vampires.
Also, there's a moment when they're shooting at the vampire women, and we'll get to it, and Craig T. Nelson is playing that his gun is jammed, which is slightly interesting. Once again, your eyes are on Craig T. Nelson when he's in these scenes.
He is magnetic.
He is. I love Craig T. Nelson. I mean,
I do too, unironically.
Future Mr. Incredible. He's a superhero, for God's sake.
Oh, man, is he great in that part?
He's so good in that part. So they roll up on the place, and of course, everything is fine. And this bothered me from a vampire standpoint. What? I understand that Bruta comes over and takes the bodies because we see him with them later. But what vampire power is it to restore glass and wood pieces? Like
this was one of the things that I mean, for half a second I thought, oh, that's clever, because they have brought the deaf woman or mute woman back to the scene of the crime to show her there ain't no crime here. Mm-hmm. And we as the audience are like, what? We're looking, there's no bodies. Mm-hmm. There's no shattered glass. There's no blood on the ground. You're like, okay, that doesn't make any sense because you think that's clever, but there's no way you'd be able to get blood, like carpet replaced or a new couch. But okay, let's say they were able to replace a window in the few hours between the attack.
Because also, it was completely destroyed when she saw it. She then went and got help. It can only be a couple hours later that the police.
It can only be a couple hours, and okay, let's say they were able to do that. Mm-hmm. What you wouldn't want to then do is have Craig T. Nelson's character, like, this is the window, and then he looks at it and goes, well, this has been here for a long time.
Yeah. Yes.
So
it's not even new. He goes, it's always been here like this.
Yes, you expect him to go, well, it does look like this was recently replaced. That would make logical sense. If he says it looks like it's been here for a long time, either he's in on it, or there was magic involved. What kind of vampire magic cleans up a crime scene?
I know, I couldn't. This just pissed me off. I will say throughout the rest of the movie, I was still mad about this. I'm like, no, because once again, we're just playing fast and loose with vampire mythology. You know, do your own take on stuff, but why this? You can't. He doesn't have a fucking magic wand where you can just make it all and it cleans up. This is not Bewitched.
To vampire mythology, and vampire mythology is tired of being monkeyed with. It doesn't want to be played around with anymore.
It does. And it does not deserve to be. It is. No, we love you, vampire mythology.
We need you to have agency over how you're used, and that was irresponsible.
And then I love
it's like the Kryptonian villains having telekinesis.
Yes, it is a lot like that. Which I think is not in the Donner cut, if I remember correctly.
Oh, the Richard Donner cut?
I think in the Donner cut, some of the weird Kryptonian powers are gone.
Good.
Because like the thing with the beams coming out of their fingers is gone. I know that's
their telekinesis, moving things.
Yeah. So then all that shit is gone.
Oh God.
That was not a Donner thing. Thank God. R.I.P. By the way, Dick Donner. Man was a legend.
I don't want to get started because I'll start crying.
Yeah. Well, we mentioned The Omen earlier.
It's true.
Another great Donner film.
Classic Donner.
So then my favorite piece of this though is to go, hey, look, a letter. This letter describes that the entire family took off in the middle of the night because, it's just like one of our relatives is sick and we have left town. And it might as well say, ask no further questions.
It is so stupid.
And the cop's just like, stupid. Well, that explains it.
It says literally like, hey, Jennifer, one of our relatives is ill. We had to leave real quick in the middle of the night.
By the way, we're never coming back.
And
what was the long-term plan for Yorga here?
The cops even go, so they just, even if they left the kid?
Because they're like, Tommy, did you see anything? He's like, oh, I didn't see anybody get attacked.
Oh, I was asleep. Yeah, he had been there with the bodies, with the mute woman,
right?
And now in front of the cops, he's like, I don't know what the fuck she's talking about.
I do love the way this actress plays the like. Even though she's mute, but she's just going like, if you saw it, that was right there, you little bastard. When she smacks him later is my favorite part.
Yes.
That's my favorite scene in the movie. When she just hits the kid.
That opened her acting reel, was that scene.
And then it was weird because she backed it up and showed it again. It was like, it just kept going.
This is
it was
never...
like almost like a rhythmatic kind of thing.
This has never been documented in film history, but apparently she paid the filmmakers to be able to do that scene.
Well, I will say, because the kid is so shitty in this movie, that when she hit him, I was like, yeah, get him! Get that kid!
Yeah, just like an airplane, the camera starts panning over, and there's a whole line of people lined up to beat the shit
lead
out of the
pipe
kid.
and stuff. Yeah. That's right, I want to join that line, that little son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Because he's just like, because they go, did you see anything? He goes, well, I saw him leave. And once again, these cops have no further questions about, well, wait a minute, they just left this child? And also they're like, random note. Do we bother to get a handwriting sample or something?
I'm sure the note was typewritten too.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, Jennifer, we had to leave. Sick relative, gotta go by.
And the cop's just like, well, that's good enough for me. Anyway, see you later. It's just like, boy, that deaf broad sure is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
That was cut. I'm sure it was actually
that was a Craig T. Nelson improv, I heard.
Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah, so they go, well,
did you guys like that? You like the way I put that in there? That's pretty good, huh?
Nothing we can do. So anyway, we then cut to Bruta disposing of these dead bodies by dumping them in a mud pit sinkhole thing in the yard at Yorga's.
That's what you do.
Yep. Yeah. And he's just, this is just Bruta doing his work. And he throws him in there, and then he uses a stick to push him down. And Cynthia sees him out the window and is like, oh, hi there. Is part of the hypnosis that she doesn't see him disposing of the bodies? Because it's pretty clear what he's doing.
That was real vague. I would love it if she's
say
actually
anything
watching.
About that.
I would love it if she's actually watching her family being dumped in a pit and just going, hi, did you know if the Count was going to pick up some orange juice later? Because it's just the thing. I like when I get up in the morning, have some orange juice, Bruta.
And then of course, is it too early to put in tomorrow's breakfast order?
Bruta, get right on it.
Bruta, do you want egg scramble?
Pulp or no pulp?
How do you take your eggs?
She's like me and hates them because eggs are disgusting.
I don't eat them.
I've just made a character choice for Cynthia. She can't stand eggs.
Hey, that's more character choice than this movie makes for her. So
yes, very true.
So she comes down. By the time she's down there, we get the return of everyone's favorite character, that barking dog from the first movie that Bruta's walking.
Yeah. I will say this time
Yorga's dog is back.
This time the barking is coming from the dog. Like it's not dubbed over.
And I did think, oh, Bruta, he can never get that dog under control.
Yeah, or maybe any dog that the Count adopts is going to end up a barking nightmare.
Well, I like the idea of Yorga going to the pound and finding the one dog who's like out of control, and he's like, "I'll take that one.
That is the one for me."
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm doing an accent
for him.
Yorga's
dog because he's Count Yorga.
And
everybody Yorga. Come on, everybody, and do the Yorga.
Do the Yorga.
Yeah.
Do the dance. That's so easy to do.
Yeah. It is so easy to do because it's just your arms outstretched in front of you and then you run at someone.
In slow motion.
That's the Yorga.
While hissing and your mouth open.
Oh, man. Meanwhile,
David
is talking with Jason, and boy, just if you thought this movie didn't have it, you bet we're going to get an ADR sequence of these guys walking around San Francisco putting the pieces of this mystery together. And I'm just like, this is a Count Yorga picture.
This is, all right, I will say this. Up until this scene, it was in the back of my head that I was sitting there going, oh, this isn't great, but I can see that the filmmaker has made some strides since the first movie.
No.
And then we got this. I was like, nope, I was actually congratulating him for not doing a guys wandering around the
No,
city
this
scene
is a Bob
with 80-yard
Kelgen
dialogue.
This is a Bob Kelgen move, man. All of
Only
his
this
movies
time
needed
they're walking around San Francisco. They're walking around the cable car turnaround. I'm like, yeah, I used to go there. That's nice.
I bet you get the same sequences in Flesh of My Flesh, and we'll have to look for Scream, Blackula Scream, and Act of Vengeance.
They're just walking around, and you get dubbed over.
And he pulls this same shit in all 8 episodes of Starsky and Hutch that he directed. He just has Starsky and Hutch wandering around with the voiceover of them putting the case together.
Yeah.
I don't know, Starsky. And they all have to perform it about like this. And they are just going like, well, it is weird that Yorga showed up right when people started getting bitten. And it is strange that it's everything we've already said, which is just like, oh, that is weird that they would just leave that kid there in the middle of the night and drive away.
But we do get yet another scene of yet another Roger Perry character saying, hey, I have this guy who's kind of like a mentor for me. You ever heard of a Professor Reinhardt?
Yeah, well, because he does. Because he says, remember those bites on Mitzi's neck? And it's like, yeah, those were weird. And Jason's like, yeah, what was that about? He's like, well, I'm not saying it's for sure, but like, maybe it's a vampire.
Yeah.
And Jason says, that's crazy. He's like, well, I know a guy. Let's go talk to him. And boy, do we go talk to Professor Reichstadt is his name.
Oh, God, yeah.
George McCready. Father of
is the character
Michael
actor,
McCready.
Character actor, father of this film's producer. And this time, this film's producer did not put himself in the movie. That's very nice. But he put his dad in this time. Last time, he just narrated. This time, he's actually got screen time.
Brendan, can I tell you, this is the final screen performance of George McCready. This is it. This is how
Well,
the
you didn't have
ends.
to tell me that because I saw the memoriam thing come up at the end of the film.
Okay.
This film is dedicated to the memory of... No, it didn't do it.
It didn't because he died 2 years after it came out. But still,
okay,
it is the end of this is the end of George McCready. And what a note to go out on. The way this is shot, the way he performs this, everything about this scene is weird, and I would also say wildly unnecessary.
Yeah.
We learn nothing from this.
No.
And it's just
meant
George
to be
McCready,
a character bit.
And the camera is right on him in kind of a low angle close up.
Yeah, it's really not even like there's a conversation supposedly going on, but you're really not cutting over to the other side of it. You're not really seeing David talk to him.
Reichstadt, this guy's a kook.
And apparently he's hard of hearing because he keeps getting words mixed up, and it's supposed to be funny, and it's not.
No, I didn't laugh once during this.
No, I think you were supposed to, though, John.
I got the air of an attempt at comedy here. Yeah.
It's weak sauce, and he's dressed like the whole gag is you're expecting a Van Helsing type. And
well, because when they go to him, I thought, oh, this movie's going to have a proper Van Helsing character.
Instead, what you get is he's supposed to be kind of like a Timothy Leary, like a kind of LSD'd out professor guy.
Yes.
So he's dressed kind of hippie-ish. He's got like a Daniel Boone, like doe skin shirt on or something, and he's just kind of like, wild-eyed and saying nonsense, and then getting words mixed up, and you're like, did you have a point? And at the very end of the scene, while Roger Perry's trying to get him back on topic, he does say, like, what did any of this have to do with vampires? And then we as the audience go, exactly. Thank you. What did this scene have to do with anything? It got us nowhere.
Yep. I have, it is just like, I just wanted the two characters to walk out of his house and be like, well, that accomplished nothing. Anyway.
Indeed.
Meanwhile, we cut back to the orphanage, and Jennifer looks out a window to see that little Tommy is fighting with another boy from the orphanage, and Tommy pushes...
Over the ball.
Yeah, Tommy pushes this kid to the ground, picks up a big rock, and is going to bash his head in with it.
Yeah.
And she taps at the window and is like, no. And he's like,
no.
The kid's like, I wasn't going to do anything.
No murder today, Tommy. What did we say?
Yeah.
No murder.
But then she sees him walk off, and she's like, I better follow this kid and see what he's up to. And we watch her, for a while, follow Tommy over to Yorga's place.
Yeah.
And he walks in.
He's in tight with Yorga.
Yeah. Then we cut inside Yorga's house, and this is a scene I have a lot of questions about. Yorga is consulting with a woman in his basement who, to me, appears to be a witch. Am I wrong here? This is a sudden witch introduction in the movie, and then she's not seen again?
God damn it. John, I wish I had answers. Like, if they had introduced...
my note just says, Yorga has a witch now, ?
If Yorga had introduced her earlier, like, she travels with him, or
what if she was the reason why they rise from the grave again, or something?
Sure.
Yeah.
No.
Because I go with that. You just give me a witch, I'm like, yeah, sure, that's fine.
When you look her up in the credits, she's listed as witch.
Oh, I didn't even... Oh, my God. So, yeah. Because she, in every way, is made... Oh, yeah. Corinne Conley
as witch.
Oh, my God. But this...
So it's...
What is this?
It's out of
This is her only scene.
It's her only scene. She just says, you're gonna get what you didn't think you'd get. You're gonna fall in love, and she says cryptic nonsense.
She says, look, you really think this relationship with this woman's gonna work? Yeah. And she goes, you just gotta kill her like you killed everybody else. You can't... Also, don't you have like 7 other wives? Yeah, but they got ugly, so...
Yeah, have you seen them lately? Jesus.
Boy. Yeah, that dirt nap didn't do him any favors, that's for sure. Jesus Christ.
You should have done the It's Time, Rise, numbers 3 and 5.
Yeah.
The rest of you stay.
Just put like asterisks, and it just says like only the hotties. I don't know, something like that.
No fat chicks within the symbol with the cross through it.
I think one of them's putting on weight. God.
I lived in the 80s as a high school student when that was actually like a thing where people wore
chicks.
T-shirts and had bumper stickers that said no fat chicks.
Oh, what a time to be alive, Brendan.
I'm telling you. It was tubular. It was radical.
It was fun. We were just body shaming left and right back then.
None more so than myself in the mirror. Anyway, moving on.
Look at you fat son of a bitch.
I would just sit there going, no fat chicks. That means you, Jones.
So Cynthia's having dinner with Yorga at this big, not quite Citizen Kane big dinner table. Yeah. And she's like, oh, I found these clothes in a closet upstairs. I hope it's okay that I put them on. And Yorga's like, oh, yeah, take whatever you want. She says, by the way, where did these women's clothes come from? He's like, don't worry about that. Don't you worry about that, okay? And then she's once again, because we have to do this, you're not eating? He's like, no.
The classic. You're not going to have anything to drink? No. You going to eat? No.
Well, anyway, and he says, hey, I heard you were like walking around outside earlier. Don't do that.
Yeah. What did Daddy say about walking around outside?
Yeah. And she goes, well, I am feeling pretty good, so maybe I should just go home. He's like, oh, no. That's not a good idea. Well, can I at least call my family? I wouldn't. I really wouldn't if I were you.
Yeah.
No, they're fine. They left a letter. It says they're going out of town forever. Says they're leaving town and not to ever call them again. That's interesting. Anyway, more soup. And then in the middle of this conversation, Yorga's just like, it's a borderline Simpsons structure of like, I have to go out to my car. And then Yorga just walks out of the dining room, out of the house, gets in his car, and I really am at this point. I mean, I'll give the movie this. I don't know where the film is going at this point. Where's Yorga all of a sudden need to take off to?
Oh, once the witch showed up, you're like, I don't know.
Anything can happen in this movie now.
I don't. Is there a Yeti? Is there a Yeti coming?
I'm waiting for a werewolf now. I mean,
where's Cousin It? I don't know. I give up. I don't understand.
Yeah, apparently the Addams family lived next door. I don't know, man.
They're creepy and they're kooky.
Yeah, Yorga and Gomez, they're golfing buddies.
I could actually see that.
I would love to watch that movie.
Oh,
that would be great. But no, Yorga goes to a bar where there's a woman singing, and Mitzi and her boyfriend are there, and once again, in trying to prove he is a vampire to everyone, he not only doesn't drink the cup of coffee that he's ordered, he makes a point to push it all the way to the other end of the table, like, I am expressly not consuming this beverage.
what a dick this guy is.
He's just, I mean, what it is bad filmmaking, right? It's just the movie constantly going like, he's a vampire. Do you see? Like, again, he didn't even drink that coffee.
Is no one reading the sandwich board? Why did we even have that made up?
Well, apparently there are notes on the first movie where people don't really get that he's a vampire, despite it being in the title. So this time, let's really drive that home.
Mission accomplished.
I mean, I'll tell you this. I have a lot of questions about this movie. Whether or not Yorga's a vampire, I do have a clear answer to that.
That I've got a pretty good lead on.
And then Mitzi and her super cool boyfriend go to his super cool boat that he lives on. Oh, what a badass.
He lives on a boat with Miss Naughty.
But she's not feeling too well tonight.
No, and he actually says, you look like shit.
Jesus, Mitzi.
Really let yourself go. Now, Mitzi, the actress who plays Mitzi, looked vaguely familiar to me, and it was driving me crazy. Jessie Wells plays her. It's not a big part. It's actually a very tiny part.
Yeah.
But she was in several episodes of Soap and a few Rockford Files.
Oh, yes.
So that I was like, yes, that's where I know her face from.
This is her first film as well, like Craig T. Nelson, yeah. I mean, she did a handful of things, mostly on TV. She was on the short-lived Serpico series.
God.
She
was on Hunter, our beloved Hunter, and TJ Hooker.
I do love both of those shows. Do I own the box sets of both of those? You bet. Of course I do.
You're your own guy.
I also do own the box set of Soap.
Oh, well, that's worth it.
And the 2 or 3 seasons they've released of Benson. They have not released the entirety of Benson, and it upsets me. I love me some Benson. Because I love a wisecracking butler.
Robert Guillaume, that's the reason. That's one of the spinoffs where the show wasn't still as good as the actor, but he brought it.
He did. He was always zinging that governor, man. That's all that mattered.
But Soap is where he really shone, and I freaking love it. The storyline with the Exorcist takeoff, and oh man, it's just gold.
Soap really ahead of its time in a lot of ways.
Oh,
but
my
just,
God.
Like, just the whole existence of Soap as like...
I was very pleased with one of my intros to the Tesla City story is where I got to say, confused? You won't be after tonight's episode. And there were about 5 people in the audience that got the reference. I was like, oh, great.
Very good.
Yeah.
So she's on the boat. All of a sudden, the lights flicker. And this tough Tarzan boyfriend guy, now in his cool leather jacket, goes, I better go check out what's going on out here. What's happening with this crazy boat? The lights are turning off. That's my
Remember
man.
when I was Tarzan earlier? It's pretty cool, right? Tarzan.
Excuse me. This movie needs a man in it.
Corey's not going to give you that. Roger Perry's not going to bring
he's standing out here on the dock. And this is the first time that Robert Corey charges the camera in vampire costume and makeup. And I'm just like, oh my God. Was this supposed to be scary? Because it is. It's like your dad at a Halloween party.
It's supposed to be like a jump scare, and it doesn't work at all.
The only way it works is the noise is kind of startling, but then so it's like, what's that? And then it's Robert Corey running at you, and you're like, this is so stupid.
I mean, Corey works as a certain type of vampire, which is kind of gentleman vampire.
Yeah.
The scenes where, as you pointed out in the previous movie, anytime he's supposed to be feral, bestial, scary, monstrous vampire, just doesn't work. He looks good with the fangs in his mouth. He looks good with those fangs.
This is where you need to make it vague and mysterious and keep him shadowed.
Or you make these Yorga movies actual romances, because that's what he's trying to push it into.
Yeah.
And the writing's not helping. But you're sitting there going, yeah, he's not working as I come out of the shadows. You're like, please go back in the shadows.
You know what would be better is just have like the guy lean down to fix the thing and then stand back up and Yorga's just behind him.
Yep.
And then it doesn't, because you can have the vampire be mysterious and just sort of appear. And Corey could do that, but the running is just like, oh my God. And then the idea that they thought this was so good, we need to do this again, but longer and in slow motion later.
What
movie are you trying to make?
There's a bit at the end that isn't running, but it's a pop out and kind of hiss thing.
Yeah, he does.
And they do it twice.
Yep.
Within like a few seconds.
Yeah.
And it's just embarrassing. I mean, and also
I feel sad for all involved, really.
Again, it's more like, man, Yorga, you go out like a punk. Every one of these movies.
I think Yorga goes out even more like a punk in this one. Like, really.
Yeah. This one has a powerful message of empowerment.
Sisters are doing it for themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Suddenly that song kicks in, and you're like, Annie Lennox.
Also,
how did you get
the
here?
way Yorga goes out in this movie, we'll talk about, but I'm like, that shouldn't kill a vampire by everything I know about vampires.
Well, if another vampire does it to you, maybe? Whoa, spoiler alert for the ending.
Except not, because she's not the vampire.
Right, but then isn't the coup de grace David pushing him over the thing?
Yes, is that how that works?
I don't know.
This whole movie's so dumb.
It is.
So
we're not to the end yet.
No, we're not. So then, he kills the boyfriend, I guess.
Yeah.
We don't really see it. He just sort of ends up, he throws the guy in the water.
Mitzi and the boyfriend, Benny and the Jets, they've all been killed.
Mitzi and the boyfriend.
Don't. Oh, also, speaking of which, R.I.P. Biz Markie, who did a great cover version of Benny and the Jets.
I was very sad to
with
read
the Beastie Boys
the other day.
Yeah, I was surprised at how relatively young he was. I'm like, Jesus, he was only like 6 or 7 years older than me, and he had a top 10 hit. Must have been like 19 or 20. Damn.
Yeah. He was just a figure of pop culture, man.
Delightful presence.
Absolutely. So then Yorga does very seductively drink Mitzi's blood.
Oh, this one is
the most overtly sexual I think we've seen, because it is more about like something's going to happen with these two than it is I'm specifically drinking blood. It does seem like Yorga does other stuff too. Unlike Christopher Lee or Bela Lugosi, where it was just the neck biting.
No,
Yorga's taking his pants off here.
He bites her neck and
now help
does
me get this cape off.
Then he backs up, and she looks at him like, oh, you're not nearly done yet. And then she goes in and pulls him down, like, keep on going. Of course, she's just, bringing about her own death and vampirism, but God bless.
Yeah. Hey, they're consenting adults. They're having a good time. It's all right.
Amen.
Yeah. So, meanwhile, Cynthia, this is... Good God, this is the first of 2 scenes of Cynthia wandering about as there's creepy giggling on the soundtrack.
Okay, this is supposed to... They're trying to... Like, I can see the director sitting there going, guys, on the Late Show last night, I saw The Haunting. It was great.
Yeah, they
can do so much.
They are
with
cribbing
just
from other better horror movies across this film.
And tilting the camera. So, basically, she's wandering the mansion and gets locked in one of the creepy rooms that has a lot of cobwebs and broken dolls in it.
Over here, this door goes to the creepy room.
Yep. Oh. Is that an original creepy room, or did someone add that later?
I mean, and it's got all the fixins, right? It's got furniture covered with sheets,
cobwebs.
Cobwebs, and then like a sheet thrown over furniture. It's got a big mirror. Grandfather clock, and yes, she does find a terrifying doll.
Yes. But what cracked me up about this is, so she's essentially being terrified by the vampire brides. What cracks me up about this is the vampire brides in every single scene we see them in this movie are silent zombie starers. In this, where we don't see them, supposedly they're giggling, they're saying her name. I'm like, why don't we see them this playful when we actually see them?
They're shy. They only do this when they can't be seen. Then you look at them and
not in the when he's not in the mansion.
Yeah. When the Yorga's away, the brides will play.
That's basically it. So they lock her in the room. She freaks out, and every few seconds, something will trigger monochromatic, like red filtered flashback. It's
like a reddish purple, sort of violety color. Yeah.
It's flashback
to
the
very early 70s trippy.
Oh man!
And then she's like, "Wait a minute, my entire family was killed."
And in small doses, maybe this could have been effective.
Yeah.
But this scene goes on for literally
it's about half
23 minutes. 23 minutes.
This is where I started. About 2 minutes into this thing, I'm like, all right, I'm fast forwarding because this is not going anywhere, is it?
It's just Mariette Hartley trying to play terrifying.
Poor Mariette Hartley, who I do really like, but just...
Oh man, she's a legend. She's a giant.
Great. She's great. And she was really good on The Incredible Hulk. She won an Emmy for it. She won an Emmy for that episode.
She was great in those Polaroid commercials with James Garner supposedly as her husband.
Yeah, I always thought that was weird. Like, why would you take two known actors and be like, they're married? What?
Well, they weren't playing themselves, and yet they were.
That was what was weird about it, though. It almost seems like...
Exactly.
I remember seeing those commercials and being like, well, that must be James Garner's wife.
And I think some of the last ones they did, it was them in T-shirts that actually said, we're not really married. I mean, just because they were stopped all the time in public, like, you two are the best couple I've ever... And they're like, yeah, no, that's just for the commercials.
I do love people's assumptions like that. Like when Dick Van Dyke and Mary Tyler Moore, they must be married. Why would you make that jump? Like, why would you assume? That's insane.
I actually believed in the great romance of Robert Pattinson and Kristen Stewart.
Well, that there was some stuff going on there.
No, there wasn't. She's gay. She's 100% gay.
Well,
that was promotional press nonsense because Twilight's a big romantic series.
I don't know. Then why was she messing around with that other male director then that broke them up?
Also, a beard. That's right. I'm going public with this stuff.
I love the idea of being so in depth on
hot gossipy.
Being in the closet that you date someone and then cheat on them with another man, and it's all part of one big. It's all just to fool you.
Hollywood, man.
Crazy Hollywood. With those Hollywood nights.
We're not going to do the Twilight movies, are we? Do we have to?
No, we've talked about it. I don't think I can sit through that.
I just don't think I can.
No.
I mean, it seems like something we should, and I know we've watched worse movies. But
I feel like we're going to have, by popular demand, we're going to have to.
That's 5 movies, man.
It's a lot. That's the other thing. It's a lot. Like one. If it was 1 or 2 or Twilight trilogy, maybe, but 5...
It would be the first for me because I could only get through 25 minutes of the first movie on cable before I turned it off.
That's probably about where I got to. I just couldn't handle all the longing stares. Like, most of the beginning of that movie is just people staring at each other.
And the dialogue is terrible.
And the other thing is, like, the actors are good. They're both good actors. Most of the supporting cast is made up of good actors. Yeah. I mean, fucking Michael Sheen comes in as the main villain at a certain point in there.
And he is ludicrous in that.
Honestly, he's the only reason I would want to watch those because he is
doing... the Alan Rickman Sheriff of Nottingham in that series.
Yes, he clearly comes in. He's got red eyes and stuff, and he's
a cartoon. He's so over the top. Yeah,
I will say, having seen a lot of Michael Sheen's work, it does not take much to push that guy over the top. He is always ready to ham it up. It feels like.
I want Michael Sheen at that level all the time.
I love out of control Michael Sheen. His performance in Tron Legacy, incredible.
Oh,
he's so unbelievable. He's having the time of his life in that movie.
He's so good.
Anyway,
Frost Nixon, he goes insane in Frost Nixon.
Devouring that scenery. Frank, who I didn't even see the other guy in the movie.
Man, was that a good movie. Anyway, moving past.
So good. So then that whole thing happens. Then the Reverend David and Jason are all interrogating Tommy about Jennifer says you went over to Count Yorga's. Why'd you do that? And he goes, I didn't go over there. Why would she say that? And they're like, why would she fucking lie about it? I don't know.
This kid is a shit.
And because he is just like, I don't know what she's talking about. That bitch is lying.
He's in thrall. He's in thrall to Yorga.
But I love that they don't. I don't know if he was written to be like a creepy kind of Omen kid, but the way he plays it is so casual. He's like, I don't know why she'd say that.
Well,
she's probably lying.
The scene where he leads English guy to his doom is
the closest to that.
But it's still played so flat. Like
I was cracking up
where it's like, no, down here. Then he opens the door and he just goes, go in there, go in there.
It's
the good dresses are down there.
I was just about to say it's fucking De Niro going around the corner. That little hand move he makes where he's got all of his fingers out. He's like, down there, around the corner.
Down there.
Where you going?
I gotta go. I'm sorry.
Hey, come on, where you going?
Yeah. I gotta go, Jimmy. See you later.
We always end up talking about other better movies on this show.
Yes, and we've actually talked about that scene a lot.
Because that is sort of a horror movie scene.
Well, that's actually a really well done scene of we actually don't know the truth of what. No, but the way the tension is built up. Because
we're playing it from Karen's perspective, so it is really scary. We don't know what Jimmy's intentions are there.
It could actually be some really nice dresses, or there may be a guy in there waiting to whack her.
But also, De Niro's performance throughout the movie tells you that either one could be true. He has been very gregarious and generous. He's also been a cold-blooded killer.
A better film and a scene that is indelible, so therefore
it's almost as if Martin Scorsese is a master filmmaker and De Niro is one of the greatest actors of his generation.
You would almost think that's what was at work there.
I can't fully say that, but I'm close to saying that. I'll leave it at Scorsese. Not bad.
Wow, I didn't know you were going to take such unbelievable stances on this podcast.
He is not a bad filmmaker.
Scorsese. Okay.
And this is the scene where, by the way, Scorsese, big monster movie fan. I've heard him talk very, lovingly about Hammer films and stuff and growing up on those.
Not really a genre he's tackled, though.
No, I'd say something like Cape Fear or Shutter Island are about the closest he's come to horror stuff.
It's interesting. Like, he was like, no, I love them, but I can't do it.
I mean, I think that's true for some filmmakers, right? Because I also know that Paul Thomas Anderson's a big monster movie guy, too.
Wow.
Because Bill Hader talked about, like, oh, yeah, I talked to him once, and all he wanted to talk about was Chud. Oh my God. And you're like, that's not what you expect to talk to Paul Thomas Anderson about, but, like, that's what he's into.
Another film that sadly we will not be covering. Oh, and
I do love Chud.
Look, they're cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellings.
Right off the bat, you had me at that title. So
I think that's what Yorga 3 was going to be. From the description, it was going to be early Chud.
I hear it had a major influence on Magnolia.
Especially the scene where everyone starts breaking into an Amy Mann song.
Yeah, that was actually something that was cut out of Chud that Paul Thomas Anderson knew about and decided to do for himself. No,
not going to stop till you wise up, Chud.
Just adding Chud to the end of that really got me.
Chud to the end of
Chud.
Yeah, I think that also allows me to have sung that without us having to pay for any rights.
Mm-hmm. Well, they also cut out all the scenes where it was revealed that William H. Macy was a Chud the whole movie.
Man.
That's why he needed the braces. Anyway, so this is where Jennifer smacks Tommy, and I was like, yeah, you get him! You beat the shit out of that little piece of crap.
Why are you lying?
I do like they're like, hey, whoa, come on.
Sign to me and tell me why you're lying.
And she's just like, because she's saying, oh yeah, this is the scene where it really hit me about how shitty he is. Because she keeps signing, and they're like, she keeps saying, everyone is dead. They're all dead. And then Tommy's like, why would you say that, Jennifer? That's an awful thing to say. And I was just like, oh, fuck you, kid. Oh, come on, Jennifer. That's not cool to talk like that.
Hey.
Which, I do sort of love that take on the vampire thrall, who's not like a wide-eyed, like, yes. He's just like, that's not, why would you go and say that? You can't accuse people of things like that.
You can't say things like that about my master. I mean, that guy lives across the street.
The casual vampire thrall really gets me. They're just like, no, what? Him a vampire? I don't think so.
You know, sometimes when I'm watching these early 70s vampire films, this would have been around the time that Stephen King is putting together Salem's Lot. I weirdly think Stephen King watched these things, knew they were shit.
Yeah.
But he probably did pick little things out like,
sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, in the hands of like a good storyteller, I could use this. There are little bits here and there. I'm like, oh yeah, this could have informed a better thing.
Well, Salem's Lot, one of my favorite vampire stories. I love Salem's
Lot. And we'll be getting to that one. Fairly soon.
not too far off from that. So then I do like as they're like, Tommy, you can go, but as he's leaving and going up the stairs, David just says, hey Tommy, do you know what a vampire is?
Yeah.
And the kid is just like, no. And I was like, you fucking liar. What kid doesn't know what a vampire is? Because we have established in these movies that vampires in popular culture exist.
Yes.
And I just want David to like lunge at him and be like, you goddamn liar. Yeah, there was a guy
dressed
as Dracula earlier. So we do know that. I really want David to be like, fucking lying. That guy got him now. He knows what a vampire is, little shit.
But again, it was followed up with, Tommy, do you like movies about gladiators?
it did have a similar cadence to it of that, like, hey, Tommy, do you know what a vampire? I would have loved if we had seen that earlier, and that was what Yorga said to him.
Yes,
come here,
it
Tommy.
Would have been so good.
Do you know what a vampire is?
Have we gotten to the scene?
Would you like to be one?
Have we gotten to the scene where Bruta interrupts Count Yorga?
I don't think that's happened yet.
Okay.
I don't think
Let me know when we're there. I'm getting the sequence mixed up.
So anyway, and then I like the Reverend was like, what was that about? And he's like, well, I'm pretty sure now that Yorga's a vampire. And the Reverend's like, I do love the way this guy playing the Reverend plays this, where he's like, a vampire?
Yeah, what?
Vampires?
Are you crazy?
And then David takes the cross off the wall and he goes, Jason, just hold on to this thing, all right?
Yeah.
And then
you're gonna need that. And
then David leaves the room, and once again, the scene does end with a proper like button where he's like, "A vampire?" The Reverend hits it again, and I'm like, you know what?
And again,
that comic beat works.
It did, and again, helped by that trumpet sound that they do. And vampire, a vampire.
You're telling me it's a vampire? Meanwhile, somehow, I guess, because he's the psychologist that the cops know or something, they bring him out to the crime scene on the boat. And they're like,
it's already established they will bring anyone, any civilian to a crime scene.
Hey, we heard word there's a murder. Anyone want to jump in the car and check it out with us?
Hey, buddy, are you on your lunch break? You want to see some bodies? You come over here.
Hey, cool. Craig T. Nelson just pulls up to a couple. Excuse me, ladies. Detective O'Connor here. I'm just heading down to a murder scene. Yeah, you two want to hop in the back and check it out with me? Yeah, they call him out.
This is a trick I used in Bulgaria. I picked this up in Bulgaria.
Back when I was serving over in Bulgaria.
Nothing gets the chicks like promising to show them dead bodies.
So he goes to the murder scene and he's like, well, okay, I'm gonna want a blood sample from this guy. Which, once again, now David is the psychologist at the orphanage and he's asking for evidence from the. He's also Batman, apparently.
Right. And
they go, blood sample.
What for? What are you looking for? And he goes, human saliva.
Yeah, and they're like, oh boy. And then great line from Craig T. Nelson.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
The ghost of Lou Costello shows up. I mean, these two guys borderline turn into Abbott and Costello down the stretch. These cops.
Which is a weird blend. There are some comedic moments in this movie, but just a weird blend.
Especially them in the third act really does damage to any horror that's going on. You
really
got these two guys running going, oh.
They are literally like running in one door and then the other one runs out another one. They bump into each other. Whoa!
And they're saying things like, "Oh, gee, Lieutenant, do you believe in vampires now?"
Yeah, it is stuff like that. Do you believe now?
And then the idea that they are massacred is also like, but they were like clown characters. They should live.
No, there's nothing better than the death of a clown.
Well, also, just everybody dies in this movie.
Yeah.
Basically, every character in this movie dies.
Except for Tommy.
Except for the kid, yeah, which pissed me off because he was the one character I wanted to die the most.
I think he will grow up to be the new Bruda.
Yes, I think that is although, I guess we shouldn't be too worried about well, also, why the new Bruda? Bruda will just come back. He came back this time.
It's true.
When Bruda retires. Well, time for Bruda to move to Florida.
Got card in mail. Says I can get 25% off at Denny's. Time for Bruda to retire.
He grabs his little hat and puts it on his suitcase. Bruda's gonna go now. It's been fun.
Going to get coffee at Dunkin' Donuts. Stay there all day.
Hang out with Torgo.
Started taking up watercolor.
It's just Torgo and Bruda hanging out at the Dunkin' Donuts. Or they're at Denny's ordering off the senior menu.
Fruity Tooty, fresh and fruity.
Torgo's got his little reading glasses on the end of his nose. Like,
I'll have moons over my hammy.
Can I get fruit instead of the hash browns?
The more we talk about the Bruda and Torgo show, the more part of me grieves that it didn't happen, that it doesn't exist. That's another challenge for our talented listeners. It's time for you guys to draw up a T-shirt design of Bruda and Torgo.
I want them at the booth in the Denny's. Oh. And I want Torgo with the little glasses, and then
I want the show to be called...
Doctor says I have to reduce my salt intake.
I want the show to be called Bruda and Torgo a Go-Go. And you guys go from there. Yeah, I do like them sitting with menus in their hands at a Denny's. So you guys roll with it.
Yeah.
Whatever you feel.
Yeah, take it wherever you want.
Maybe they're in a car. Maybe they're driving.
Or give me a road poster, like a Hope and Crosby road picture thing, where it's them with like hula women or something like that on a beach.
Or maybe there's also something kind of like poetic, like it's the two of them sitting on a bench looking out at like a Miami Beach scene.
There you go.
Like they're buddies, old buddies sitting on a bench. It's kind of wistful.
Yeah,
I love this.
I love this idea. This is better.
And also, don't forget Torgo's enormous thighs. All right, moving on.
His knees, the oversized knees.
Yeah, the knees.
Yeah.
Because supposedly he has goat legs.
Maybe he was supposed to, yeah. But so
I wish someone would find that staff he had that had the metal hand up on the top.
Yeah.
That thing would go for crazy amounts in an auction.
I do.
Thanks to Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Yes, exactly. I do love Craig T. Nelson going, "Hey, Chief, it does seem like there's some evidence that a woman was on the boat."
Yeah. Oh God, this line that he says next is so stupid. It's like, yeah, well, you could check any boat in here, you'll find signs of a woman.
You know those gals, they can't resist a boat.
They can't resist a boat.
I don't know.
Why don't you go down to the lake where they have the little paddle wheel things? You'll find evidence of a woman. He
does tell the cops, "I'm looking for a vampire," and these two are like, "Vampires?" It's the same thing Roger Perry did in the phone call scenes last week, but now it's just with the cops are there.
This time, this scene is where he leans in. He's like, "All right, I'll tell you." He leans in and whispers it to the cop. We don't hear.
Because he says, "You won't believe me if I tell you." And they're like, "Come on.
Come on, tell us what your theory is." And he leans in, he whispers it, and then they're like, "A vampire!"
Yeah. So, I forgot there is another scene with the witch, and it's this scene where Cynthia's asleep in bed, and the witch is, like, approaching her, and then it's revealed Yorga's sitting in a chair next to her, but he's like, "Get away from her!"
Yeah. He just watches her sleep.
And that's it.
That's classy.
And then she does. The witch backs away, and that literally, that's the scene. And it cuts away. And I went, well, it seems like they were setting up some kind of conflict between Yorga and this witch, but that doesn't ever come around. This is it for the witch.
if I'm reading you the way I'm pretty good now at reading you.
Yeah.
Does this mean that your brain has started to spin as in a spin-off about this witch?
Yes.
You are now constructing a story of what is her deal? What is her life like?
I've written an outline for it, and
Great.
I'm starting in on a treatment for now. I think now is the time to finally tell the story of the witch.
Post-Yorga years.
Where'd she go from here? Because I have so many unanswered questions about this.
San Francisco, the 1970s, a witch on her own. I love this.
That's the title, A Witch on Her Own.
I love it. I love it.
Yes, this is where Tommy then leads Jason over. He goes, Jason, I have to tell you something. I did go over to Yorga's the other night. And Jason's like, well, why would you lie about that? And I love Tommy's just like, I don't know.
Anyway, I mean, you've seen Jennifer, right? She's irritating.
Yeah. Anyway, Ellen is over there.
Is she deaf? Is she just mute? I don't know.
Your fiance Ellen is over there, and he goes, "Do you want to go over there?" And he's like, "Well, yeah. If I want to know where." Because the other thing that is like they left that once again. I don't know what Yorga's end game is here because they left that note saying they were leaving. But then isn't it odd that they never called their fiancés or anyone ever? They just left that note and were like, "Please don't try to contact us."
As if that was going to wrap things up, and Yorga's sitting there going, "Done."
Yeah.
No one will ever ask questions about Cynthia or Ellen.
You think anyone's going to look into that? I doubt it.
I mean, did you read that note? Pretty definitive.
And then, yes, we do get him doing De Niro and Goodfellas going like, yeah, down there. It's just,
the kid's like, oh, she's... And then you go open that door, she's in there.
Down at the end of the hallway. Keep going. Keep going.
He opens the door, then the kid slams the door behind him, and vampire ladies.
Well, first it's Ellen, and he's like, Ellen, what are you doing here? And she reveals
she's doing the standard creepy vampire stuff. Yeah. I've missed you, my darling.
Yeah.
That's why I'm speaking in the spooky vampire voice.
And then she reveals she has fangs, and he freaks out, and she goes, what? Don't you want me anymore? Don't you love your Ellen? And then, yes, the other vampire brides descend on him. But he is able to run out of this room, but here comes Yorga. Here he comes in slow motion.
Here comes Leroy Jenkins.
Here he is.
He is.
Also feels like he could get away from Yorga because he makes his presence known a good ways back, and he doesn't seem like he's moving too fast, and he's just arms stretched out.
There's no. I mean, Christopher Lee certainly moved as Dracula. Mm-hmm. They didn't do slow mo.
He bounds up those steps in that first, or down them. I always love that the way he lunges at Cushing in that movie.
He's this striking figure. Robert Corey, though a fine actor in these with terrible material. Yeah. This is not what he's built for. So it looks ludicrous.
He's
got vampire makeup on now.
He's just a guy.
He looks very dashing in a brocade tux coat, which actually looks exactly like one that, except for mine was blue, that an ex-girlfriend of mine bought for me at a resale shop, and I wore for years. But yes, he comes running, slow-mo, cape fluttering, arms outstretched, fangs bared, going...
Actually, I think the vampire makeup detracts. I think it would actually be... it would still be awful, but it would be a little bit better if he didn't have the vampire makeup on.
Yeah, because this looks a little community theater, and so he comes a running.
By the way, so that people can see this, if you go to the IMDb for this movie,
yes, it's right there.
The thumbnail image for playing the trailer, the video of the trailer, is this image of him doing this. So you can get an
won't have to watch the movie.
Idea of what this is, like. And even in a still frame, it's maybe even sillier in a still frame.
It's very silly.
The whole sequence is, I don't know in what world they thought this was going to scare anyone.
But this guy, what's his name, the English dude? Jason, right.
Yeah.
So he turns, he's scared.
He's running in slow motion.
One thing that cracked me up, he's also running in slow motion. But when he does the spin on his heel to turn, he slams into the wall.
Yeah.
They didn't do a second take. He slams in the wall so hard that he knocks one of the candles out of this candelabra. And again, Brendan's safety mind was like, shit, that's fire. That is a lit candle.
I do
and
think
I
about
watched,
that.
I was like, is it going to bounce off his back? Is his coat going to catch it? No,
I love the idea that Keljan was like, "Ooh, that's good. That adds another layer of terror.
It's
to
peril.
This.
It's peril.
Now there's fire involved. A vampire and fire."
Lanky British guy runs, and he looks sufficiently afraid.
Yeah, and I guess Yorga kills him because then we cut to Bruta carrying his body.
Yeah, and then just dumps it into the room of the vampire women.
Throws him to the brides.
Like, here's dinner.
Dinner time.
Yeah.
Can we add Lurch to the trio of Torgo and Bruta?
No.
Lurch was too good to hang out with those guys.
He's in another level, man. He wouldn't hang with those guys.
Lurch is the
He's beloved.
Yeah, he's the best version of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you need some weird zombie-like assistant or aide, he's your best one.
You want a Lurch, you want a Dwight Fry in Frankenstein, something like that. Now that's where our beloved Dwight Fry.
R.I.P.
The best man. Never got his due.
Rest in power.
Never got his due.
Never did. But we have skipped the scene I wanted to talk about, haven't we?
Where was this?
Where Yorga's watching TV?
Yes. No, that's I think the next scene after he dumps the body.
Okay.
No, you're right. It is before it's because it's him telling Yorga that the boy is coming over with Jason. Sorry, I did skip over that. You're right. Yes, and he's watching a movie we've watched on this show.
This is one of my favorite scenes in film history. What we hear is, like, before we see the scene, is we hear voices speaking in Spanish. And it sounds like a telenovela. It's very melodramatic. And then we realize we're watching Count Yorga sitting in, like, a living room watching TV. He's quite enthralled.
I think might be the first time we've had a vampire watching TV in one of these movies.
And then I love this. Bruta comes in and is like, "Master," and he holds up a hand like, "Not yet. We're at the good part."
Yeah. Hang on. I want to hear this part.
And then you see what he's watching, and he's watching a Spanish language version of The Vampire Lovers with Ingrid Pitt biting the priest guy.
I just love the idea of him going like, "Ooh, that Ingrid Pitt."
I lost my shit. How I love this scene. I know this isn't a good movie, but this movie gave me a scene in which a centuries-old vampire is unironically watching a hacky British
I wish he was more into it, though.
TV.
I wish he was like, "Yeah, get him! Get that priest!"
And he's watching it in Spanish for some reason, and
because he speaks every language. He's been alive forever. Yeah.
This was my favorite scene in the movie. And Robert Corey does play it well because he's kind of like, no, not yet.
Yeah.
He's just like,
hang on,
I'm loving this.
I want to see how this wraps up.
And then finally, Bruce's like, "Boy, bringing Jason over."
Yeah. Oh yeah. Anyway, I'll run at him a little bit. Don't worry.
Get back to your Hammer film.
Yeah. So then
this one has boobs.
Yeah. Oh man, I wish one of my brides looked like Ingrid Pitt.
Man. Oh, here's something about one of his brides.
It's one of them's Ingrid Pitt.
No, but one of them, like, I was watching the credits at the beginning and names listed, and a couple of them rang bells. One of the last names in the credits was Patty Hansen, and it was driving me crazy. It was like, why is that name familiar? Then I look it up on Google. Patty Hansen is married to Keith Richard and has been for decades. And she did a couple of other movies. What's hilarious is her Wikipedia and her IMDb do not claim this one.
I was going to say, I'm looking through the cast list. I don't see it. I don't see her name.
She is in the movie. It has her listed. She's like one of the younger blonde brides. And so I was like, "Oh yeah, Patty Hansen."
By the way, I apologize. I missed out. How did I miss this? That Yvonne Wilder, who plays Jennifer, co-wrote this movie.
Oh my god.
I did not catch that. Bob Keljan and Yvonne Wilder are the screenwriters of this film.
I bet Yvonne was like, "You know, it'd be great if we bring in the Santa Ana Winds."
And by the way, it is literally her only screenwriting credit in anything. That's amazing. But now I'm starting to understand the idea of like, I want to play the deaf mute girl. That's really going to be an acting challenge.
It's going to be great. Let Mariette have all the rest of that nonsense.
Yeah, I've heard do that. So, because Cynthia, meanwhile, is saying to Yorga, like, hey, why are you forcing me to stay here? This is getting... And this is when he's like...
It's getting a little creepy now.
Oh, time for some more hypnotism.
But this is also where this is where he bares his soul and says, I have lived for centuries and I'm so fucking awesome and I am strong and but there's one weakness that you have brought out in me.
The what is the most fragile of emotions or something like that?
Yes, a gentle pain, I believe, is known as love.
Mm-hmm.
He says something along those lines.
That's while he's hypnotizing her, though. He says that.
Yeah, and he goes, "Do you think you could love me?" And I'm just sitting there watching and going, well, let me ask another question first. Did you slaughter my entire family? Like the whole family?
Also, it's another thing where, like, this comes out of nowhere.
I know. If they had built...
Yeah. He
flirted with her at the very beginning.
Because we saw that with Dark Shadows. Dark Shadows did that with Barnabas.
Right.
That's fine.
Then he abducts her.
Yeah.
And he looks at her like, but you don't know if that's just a vampire going, yeah, she's going to be another one of my brides. I'm going to totally get that. But then he's talking about that fragile emotion, the weakness called love. That
pick a lane.
Pick a lane. And if this is going to be a theme, hey, you two screenwriters, why not build it? Why not make it stronger?
Maybe don't fucking slaughter her family then. Like, that's a weird move, Yorga.
Yeah.
Even by vampire standards, that's a strange move.
That is something
Dracula wouldn't do that.
Well, he would.
I mean, he would, but he also wouldn't be trying to fall in love with. Let me say,
no.
Barnabas Collins wouldn't do it then. Let me bring that into it. He wouldn't.
No,
do that
Barnabas
shit.
wouldn't.
No, never. He's a good vampire. That's what I didn't like about that Dark Shadows movie. They made him too much of a villain.
I like patting him on the head.
Yeah. He's a
nice
vampire.
Little vampire.
He's a nice vampire.
Who likes scritchies? You like scritchies right behind the ear. I know you do, Barnabas. Look at your little leg kicking. The leg's kicking. Sorry.
So the Reverend and David show the cops the picture from the night of the costume party.
Here's our proof.
And they're like, see? He was there, but he's not in this picture.
I'm like, so what? He ducked out before.
No, we all saw him. He put his cape up. It was weird. We all remember that because it drew a lot of attention to him.
And it also had no effect because he wasn't going to show up anyway, whether the cape was up or not.
The more we talk about it, the more I'm not understanding why he did that.
For a centuries-old vampire, this guy's pretty stupid.
Yeah. And then they're like, yeah, but there's no such thing as vampires. And then my favorite logic from the first movie comes back here where David goes,
I loved it.
What? Nobody's ever proved there aren't vampires. Show me the proof there aren't vampires.
I love the fact that Keljan, or whatever his name is, the director of this movie, he's like going, I loved when we did that the first time. That's something no one's ever put in a vampire movie before. We're going to use it again.
Well, can you show me proof that vampires don't exist? Yeah.
Vampires?
Which we've talked about, the near impossibility of proving something doesn't exist, is insane. And they're just
Superman isn't real?
Right.
That he's not flying around saving people?
And so,
at the speed of light?
But the cops are like, all right, yeah, I guess maybe we should look into it then.
Yeah, all right, but we're not taking those sticks with us.
Yeah. Meanwhile,
we ain't going to do the tying together of the sticks.
Out of nowhere, and I don't even think any other characters are aware of this, we just see that Jennifer has been stabbed to death.
Yeah.
And Tommy is walking away. And you're like, I guess he stabbed her. But you're just like,
we also see the dropping.
Nothing comes of that.
We see the dropping of the bloody knife, and we see his little kitty tennis shoes walking away.
I do love that.
And actually, I was like, that's baller. That's a baller move movie.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's not a bad...
The little kid offed the deaf mute
I just wish it played any role in the plot.
Yeah, I had nothing to do with
it. It's only there for us as the audience.
She had no more information that could have threatened Yorga.
No.
And she was no threat.
No, this feels like a personal thing for Tommy.
It's creepy to have a little kid taking her out.
Yeah. Whatever. And so then they're driving over to Yorga's, which I think is interesting because they're already across the street, and yet they need to drive to Yorga's.
Were they at the orphanage in the previous scene?
I thought they were. That's where they had the picture. Maybe they were at the police station. I don't know. The set design in this movie is not great.
I do love driving across the street. But that is very California.
Yeah, we drive everywhere here. Am I right?
Come on, LA Story. He literally got in the car and they drove half a block and got back out of the car.
Love that.
It was great.
That movie's so funny.
Very funny.
But so he goes, okay, here's the plan. Reverend, you are going to distract Yorga while the cops and I break into the place. And
this is the exact same plan from the first movie. You go in and talk to him about, I don't know, tarot or some shit, and we'll break into the place.
Yeah, and the cops are like, I don't know, isn't that a violation of his rights? They're like, yeah, but we got no other way. And they're like, I guess you're right.
Oh, he's dead. He doesn't have any rights.
Yeah, fair point. All right.
He's a walking corpse.
And so, yes, the Reverend goes over and he's like, well, I was going to ask you for a donation to the orphanage. And Yorga's like, well, of course, come with me. We'll talk all about it.
Yeah, he's like, why don't we take a walk in my garden? We'll talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And when they're...
You know exactly where this is going because they set it up earlier. So, yeah, and meanwhile, yeah, this is where David gathers sticks to make crosses, and Craig Nelson is like, hell no, I got a piece right here. I got 6 bullets for this son of a bitch.
1971, I guarantee you could have bought a plastic crucifix at a Walmart for 50 cents.
Yep.
The whole thing of, like, we just had to pick up random sticks. And he even says in this movie, I love this, he goes, and if you can't find any, just put your fingers like this.
Yeah.
He, like, shows him, like, dude, you can make a cross like this.
Mm-hmm. Did you know that? Did you know you could make a cross like that?
I don't think Columbo knew, but I love when Columbo just guest stars by shoving his head in the camera.
Yeah, he gets in there, which is fine if he shoves his face in, but then when he just stands in front of the camera is when he has to go. Also, that's when he starts stepping on keys.
Kitty cats.
Yeah, but he will ruin things by unplugging stuff or stepping on keys that delete things. So
he also runs up your credit cards. I know that.
Yeah, he's a spender. I don't know how he keeps getting my credit card numbers.
He didn't. What?
Yeah, I wake up every morning and my wallet is open on the counter and stuff's missing the cats.
I know I had a 20.
He's down the street buying tuna. Anyway, so the Reverend
$1,000 for the cat toys in there, and it becomes another classic Steve Martin bit. All right, moving on.
So the Reverend is walking the grounds with Yorga, and Yorga goes, "Well, how about this? I'll give you $20,000." And the Reverend, I think
he loses his mind.
He forgets about the whole mission, and
he's like 20,000. That's the most anyone's ever given.
Dear God. You're not a vampire. You're a saint.
He literally says, like, he's like going, and to think those guys that are now sneaking into your place think you're a vampire.
Yeah. Oops.
And then, that's a quick turnaround though, because he's like going, you're an amazing dude. You're no vampire. And he's like, oh, whoops, I've stepped in a soft spot patch here. Could you help me up?
And Yorga just stands there.
Count, do you think you could give me a hand?
And then the progression of this actor doing this, where he's like, wait a minute,
it's great.
You led me here, didn't you?
You led me here. You planned this. As he sinks in quicksand, the same pit we saw before.
Yeah, which I've been told time and time again is not a thing, at least not the way movies portray it.
Not the way movies portray it. It does exist, but yes, it's not like this.
Yeah, and he sinks pretty fast into this thing, and he's just like,
fast.
You rotten vampire, you monster.
Burn in hell.
And at one point he's like, well, his final act of defiance is to pull out the cross he has. It's an actual metal crucifix. And he's just like, how do you like that? Take that, you vampire bastard.
And I'm like, there he goes.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
To which I'm just like, what was that cross going to even do?
And the thing I love about the idea of if you're being drawn down, you're sinking. Mm-hmm. And the idea that what he would do is, well, I'm dying. I'll just hold the hand up with the crucifix all the way down. Like once his head's
the arm and the hand of the last.
Yes, I'm like you would think that maybe the other arm would come up. Maybe he dropped the crucifix and start doing some kind of flailing.
He in no way tries to save himself at any point in the scene, and
he
also
just goes down like the Statue of Liberty. Like the last thing you see is the hand.
It seems like you could get out of this it seems like there were things to grab onto.
Well, the whole thing is like, again, he can't be far from the solid lip. And the whole thing is you're supposed to slowly move toward, because your foot will eventually find the slope of the pit.
Yes.
You slowly
Logic would
find
dictate
something solid.
that.
No,
Yeah.
this guy's like, I'm gonna go down.
Curse you! Curse you, you vampire!
He does. He turns around like, you're no vampire, you're wonderful. And then within 5 seconds, God damn you to hell!
To which, to which I'm also like, why does Yorga kill this guy? It seems like he's gotten him on his side at this point.
Well, I think he knows.
I don't want to lose that 20 grand.
Well, no, I think he knows that.
I'm not exactly liquid right now, if you know what I mean.
He knows their plot. He knows that there are people breaking into his place right now.
Yeah.
So I think he's like,
send
fuck that.
Send the minister on his way and then take those guys out.
Yorga will not be satisfied till he's killed everyone within a 5-mile radius of where his new house is.
Yorga does turn to just straight up murder pretty fast.
He's just like, you know what? I'm not a subtle vampire.
And like, not even just the normal vampire murders of trying to drink blood. Just murder. Just to do it.
He got no blood out of that preacher.
No.
He sent him straight into the quicksand.
No. Yeah. I do like that. That's a little bit different than a Dracula.
Well, we did see Dracula stab someone in one of the movies, and that was like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it does seem like it's almost a waste, isn't it?
Yeah.
You could have got a lot of blood out of that guy.
That guy's good for 3 pints, maybe 4.
I love the idea of watching. What are you doing, Dracula? Oh, Dracula's blowing it, you guys.
I don't want a Monday morning quarterback. I don't want a Monday morning quarterback Dracula. But if it was me, the guy looked rich with blood.
He was very red in the face. There's a lot of blood in there.
He was bloodful.
Did you see those rosy cheeks, Dracula? Come on.
You're passing up quite the dinner.
Meanwhile, David and the cops are sneaking around the house, and then Yorga opens a garage door and releases the brides, which I do love. Like, it just the door goes up and out come the brides. He's like, well,
saying nothing.
Go get them, ladies.
Moving like zombies. And this is another very Night of the Living Dead-esque sequence.
Mm-hmm. Yes, because although
Ellen is with them now, and
my favorite part of this is the two cops trying to question the brides. They're all gathered in the living room, and Craig T. Nelson's like, "Hey, Chief, we better ask them a couple of questions. See if they've seen anything."
God,
you talk about an Abbott and Costello. This is a full-on old comedy bit because they're like, "Excuse me, ladies, we have a couple of questions. You know what? This was a bad idea," and they take off.
That's not John making a joke, ladies and gentlemen.
That really is what happened.
They literally say, "Oh, this was a bad idea,"
and then they might as well just do the cartoon build up to the run.
Yeah,
and they're out of there.
And then they need to run through the wall and leave them shaped cutouts.
Now I don't know why their instinct was to run upstairs and not out of the house.
I don't know, but also. They've entered this house. Okay, they're skeptical about Yorga's vampirism, but you see a bunch of chalky white women walking like corpses toward you in a bunch, and you don't automatically go, "Yep, vampires." Instead, they're like, "We should question these women." What the fuck? What the
My
fuck,
instinct
Craig
would
T.
be
Nelson?
out the front door in the car. I'm calling for all the backup. SWAT teams.
I'm not calling for backup. I'm calling every priest.
Yeah. We're getting everyone down here. We're just going to torch this place. That'd be my first move is we need to burn this to the ground.
As you know, fire doesn't do it. Fire will not destroy the vampire.
Sometimes it does.
Yeah, no, but basically that's after you've staked them and chopped their heads off. Then you burn them. Okay, come on.
Yeah, I'm saying let's just throw some grenades in there and see what comes out.
You thought that would stop me.
It's
silly
another
man,
but it's another.
I eat grenades for breakfast.
Oh, I would love to see Dracula swallow a grenade and have it explode in his stomach. And they'd be like, "Oh, excuse me," very cartoonish.
Puff of smoke comes out of his mouth.
That was a good year.
What was that? Barbecue flavor? Anywho,
they run upstairs.
The cops are stupid. They run away from the vampire ladies by going upstairs.
There. They shoot at the vampires. It does nothing.
Yeah.
Craig T. Nelson's gun jams, which, like I said, I do like as a play. As Craig T. Nelson is playing, his gun doesn't work Which I'm like, hey, you're doing, Craig T. Nelson's doing business in this movie, and I appreciate it.
He's doing some business.
And I'm like, I see why this guy kept working.
Bruta throws the other cop into a suit of armor that has...
No.
Isn't it Bruta, or is it Yorga?
No, it's Bruta, but it's David who he's fighting, not the cops.
Oh, that's right. That's David. It's not the other cop.
Right, because they're running from the Vampire Brides at this point.
Right.
And David is fighting Bruta.
Right.
Because it's after his fight with David that Bruta will confront the cops, which makes no sense.
David throws him into the suit of armor, which has a mace. And then David's like, cool, picks up the mace.
And while they're fighting Bruta and David, Cynthia's watching this and having more monochromatic flashbacks.
Right.
Because violence.
She's watching all of this stuff like she's hypnotized. Because she's not moving to do anything or saying anything.
Wait. My family. Massacre.
Every time something violent happens, like someone gets hit, she gets a flash of the vampire brides chewing on her dad or something. And what's that about?
David rams this mace into Bruta's chest, pulls it out, and then hits him in the head with it. And I thought, oh fuck! And I just write down Bruta killed with mace. And then almost immediately, Bruta is up on his feet. That's what the headline read
the next day. Bruta killed with mace.
But then almost immediately, Bruta is up again and now coming at the cops. Because my notes, literally, I finished writing Bruta killed with mace, and my pen is still trailing as I go, no, wait, never mind, still alive.
Yeah, and it's not like a mistake in the editing, because he does have the wounds from where he's been hit. But apparently, Bruta just keeps on going.
He full on mace to the chest and then head has not stopped this guy.
No.
But he is then gunned down. But that is a great moment when the cops are like, being chased by vampire brides on this side. Bruta on this side.
Do we shoot the vampire women, or do we shoot the guy that might actually be mortal?
And then
shoot the guy that might be mortal.
They both shoot Bruta, which I like. So 2 bullets go through him. And then apparently that drops him.
Yeah, but he'll be back.
He'll be back in the non-existent third Yorga movie.
Well, then, when he joins Torgo on that road trip.
Only 200 more miles to Vegas.
Bruta and Torgo a go-go.
Bruta and the sequel, Bruta and Torgo take Vegas. New shooters feeling lucky.
Viva Las Torgo.
Come on, baby.
Viva Las Torgo.
Daddy needs a 7. I will put it all on black. That's what the master would do. I hope people know who Torgo is. I think if they're listening to this show, they probably do.
7 come 11. 7 come 11. Ladies and gentlemen, Torgo is the really disturbing sidekick character in the classic film Manos: The Hands of Fate.
Once you see Torgo, you will never forget him.
I
promise you that.
You won't forget the Master either.
No, they're both so weird in design, in performance. Everything. That movie.
I saw a stage show of Manos: The Hands of Fate here in Portland a few years ago.
I remember them doing that. I didn't get to see it. I would have loved it.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Anyway, this door comes down, which separates our 2 cops, because there's a lot of just falling doors in this movie.
Yeah, it becomes very much a Scooby-Doo episode.
It really does. And Craig T. Nelson, sadly, is killed by the vampire brides.
Yeah.
Which is just too bad. Then the chief hears whatever his name is, I forgot because it doesn't matter. But Madden. He just hears a voice go, Madden. And then he gets stabbed in the gut by the little boy.
He gets stabbed.
By the kid again. This kid is just stabbing folks in this movie.
I will say that I think they thought, okay, we want that implied, but they don't. Well, they do show him in this scene actually stab him, don't they?
No. You see the knife come in from off frame, and it stabs him. Then he falls over. Then the kid walks out. This is what
I'm willing to bet. I'm willing to bet that the kid's actual parents were like, we will not have our child doing that on screen.
Which I would be okay. Me as a kid would be pissed that he didn't get to stab someone on
me
camera.
too.
I would have loved to have done that.
Yeah, me too.
I lived to do fake murders.
Yeah. You and Matt Gorley were comparing notes about squibs.
I will say I spent a lot of time in high school trying to rig up squibs. It was tough with the materials I had, and also potentially dangerous. We were always trying to do like compressed air ones, and they never worked how we wanted them to. So yes, I was trying to do that.
Thank God you weren't messing with gunpowder.
No, we knew not to do that. We did some other stuff that was fairly. We did do some fire.
Oh, okay, good.
We did some fire effects and some car stunts that we probably shouldn't have.
Jesus
we did try to do the like emergency brake car 360 thing.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Luckily nobody was hurt. Nobody was hurt.
All right, moving on.
Yeah.
The cops are dead. The cops are just dead.
So David pulls Cynthia out. He's grabbing her. He's like, we got to get out of here. This is when Yorga gets on the PA system. He's like, David, it was a mistake. You came here. You're going to die, David. And I just thought, we don't need this. This doesn't seem like Yorga.
The taunting scene in the first one was really good.
It was. Because Yorga is always like superior. That's the sense I get from him. Not that he's evil. He's just like, what are you trying to... Yes, go ahead and stab me. Yeah.
It's like, what is that, a gun?
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's the kind of thing I like, where he's like, I mean, I would have rather him get on the PA system and go, oh, what are you trying that door now? Do you really think I would be stupid enough to not lock that or whatever like that?
Instead, he does just go like, you're going to die, David.
Yeah.
You're going to die. Ha ha ha.
And now he's
Cynthia's
just
fine.
villain of the week on some procedural, you know. But he does, once again, we have locked doors that now trap David in a hallway with all the vampire brides, and Cynthia is standing with her blank stare next to Yorga, and you're like, oh no. And can I talk about, this is the other thing that really pissed me off in this movie.
I'm ready.
There's a gated door that's preventing him from getting to the front door. He tries to climb it, he can't. The brides are right on him. Their shadows are overtaking him, and he's like leaned back. I'm like, oh, he's dead. Then it just cuts to him having escaped this.
Yeah.
That's not okay. That's not okay filmmaking.
Suspense in your mind.
No,
you're like, how?
That is literally them not knowing how to do it, so it just happens off camera. I could not believe all of a sudden when he comes running at Yorga in the next scene, I was like, wait, what? How? You don't see him do anything.
Is that where he got turned? And it was the filmmakers not wanting to give that away yet?
I mean, maybe, but then why does him turned, he still kills Yorga?
He doesn't want Yorga, he wants Cynthia.
But
he's an independent minded vampire.
But the brides don't turn people, they just devour people. We've seen that. So why would they bite him and then let him go?
I don't know, man.
It doesn't add up with the it doesn't work, man. Because it is where he gets turned, but it doesn't work.
Do I look like a deaf mute woman screenwriting this piece of shit? She's not.
I've always wanted to play deaf and mute ever since I saw The Miracle Worker.
You know that's what it was. You know, she was sitting there going, "Oh, this is my Patty Duke. This is my Patty Duke.
This fucking Patty Duke can do it." Next, I'll play twins in a sitcom.
I am
identical
really
cousins.
Happy that...
I am sorry, identical cousins, not twins.
Yes, I am really happy that a man of your age knows a Patty Duke Miracle Worker reference and then Patty Duke show.
I have seen every episode of the Patty Duke show.
And of course, since I know you have the SCTV box sets, you know about all their parodies.
Oh, of course.
Because they're cheese hostesses, identical cheese hostesses, identical OPEC oil ministers, identical OPEC oil ministers.
You know what? Here's what, and this is a tangent, and we're almost done with the movie, but what I love about the Patty Duke show is the insanity of identical cousins that the show thinks it explains by making it clear that Patty's father has a twin brother that is Kathy's father. Yeah. And so then, well, that's obviously why they would look exactly alike. And I just love that sitcom logic. Oh, well, there you go. John, all questions are answered.
Of all the things you could possibly nitpick, I'm stunned you would go there.
The mothers of these girls does not matter. That always made me laugh.
Patty loves rock and roll, and a hot dog makes her lose control. I miss theme songs that actually tell stories.
The Patty's only seen the sights a girl can see from Brooklyn Heights. Yeah. What a crazy pair. I will say it's not good, but it's I kind of like it. That's
what you mean, the Patty Duke show?
Yeah. I've seen every episode of it.
Sure.
It's objectively pretty bad, actually. But
it's objectively pretty bad. But Patty Duke is winning. She's always
very winning, and everybody in it is pretty winning. Like all the actors in it are game.
They're all pros
for this stupid premise.
You know what? Gidget, the sitcom Gidget isn't great, but young Sally Field.
Delight.
And what's his Shallert? William Shallert as a dad.
Yeah.
You can't get any better than that.
Nope.
Young Richard Dreyfuss shows up as one of her dates. Come on.
Oh my God.
I can't believe we're talking about Gidget right now.
Well, because we'll talk about anything other than Return of Count Yorga. Anyway, he somehow escapes.
Girl too tall to be a midget. Gidget. That's where it comes from.
That's the worst.
I know. Tall to be a girl.
So Yorga, he and Yorga fight, I guess.
Yeah.
Then we get David trips on a stair as he's going to kill Yorga with this axe.
Yeah.
Because this sets up Cynthia to pick up the axe.
This is right here at the end where we have Yorga popping out at David and going,
and he kicks him, which I thought was kind of a Yorga kicking seemed odd to me.
Yes. And then the camera moves over a few feet while the fight continues, and then Yorga does the same thing again. He goes again. I was like, come on, guys.
Yorga's got one move, man.
He's got the pop and hiss. Hey. The pop and hiss.
Hey. Yeah. No, I'm over here. Yeah. Yorga.
You're only lucky I'm not doing it in slow-mo like I did earlier.
Oh, I totally killed that guy in slow-mo.
Yes, David drops the spiky axe. Yeah. That was another piece of medieval weaponry that was laying around.
Which I'm happy with people grabbing medieval weaponry off of walls. That's my kind of shit.
And Yorga's choking him. Yorga's just like
over the ledge into the courtyard of the balcony. Place. Yeah, balcony.
And he's like, actually, where they shot looked a lot like UCLA campus, but I can't be for sure. But it looks a lot.
It had that vibe to it for sure.
They have those kind of balconies and the sort of Spanish architecture.
I mean, a lot of stuff in San Francisco has that vibe, though.
Well, actually, that's LA, UCLA. But the San Francisco location shots were all very San Francisco. But anyway, so he's strangling David, and finally, Cynthia, who's been just in this daze of I don't know what's going on, she finally breaks through with another flashback of, hey, Yorga's not nice. He killed my
Yorga.
family. Hey, everyone! Sorry about killing your family.
Yeah, she just buries this axe in his chest, and Yorga's
she goes, no! And she buries the axe in his back.
I did not see coming.
Or it's in his chest. How can she get him in his... Does he turn around?
He does.
When she yells?
I think so, but he does specifically put it in his chest because it's all like, ooh, that's gonna be tough to come back from.
And Yorga's like, this is hurting really bad. And David's like, oh, we ain't even done yet.
No, because he shoves him off of this balcony, and we see him crash. Well, we see a dummy of him fall.
Yes.
And then
Yorga is lying on the cobblestone or whatever of the courtyard with the axe in his chest, looking dead.
I guess he's dead. I mean,
he crumbles.
I thought he died last week. No, he does not crumble. Not this time. I thought he was dead last week, but here he's still alive.
No. And
Cynthia's like, "Oh, it's over. We killed him."
All over.
And then, I mean, once again, I'm going, "Oh Jesus, they're gonna do it again."
I know
it's gonna be the exact same thing.
I know.
I knew exactly where this was going.
I know.
And by God, David is a vampire. And
David turns around and does the fangs, and they do another.
It's a freeze frame. Then he moves a little bit more, and it freezes again. Then he moves a little bit more, and it freezes again. And it's this weird stuttering thing as he bites her, and you're like,
"Yeah,
fucking great."
So I guess David and Cynthia are the new vampire couple.
Ooh, and what a couple of lookers.
And then the movie ends with Tommy, who's still alive, but we know he's evil.
Yeah, he's playing with his ball. As this choir of children are like tra la 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 la.
Yep, and he runs back into the orphanage.
Yeah, to kill
them.
I don't know. I don't care. I'm so glad the movie's over.
John.
Yeah,
you are officially done with Count Yorga.
I'm so happy there's not a third one, even though that plot does sound kind of cool.
The plot sounds awesome, and we did miss the chance of seeing him face off with Fibes.
That I actually would have enjoyed just because I just like Fibes. I mean, I just want more Fibes. And it'd be funny, a vampire.
I went to my doctor recently, which you have to do as you get older, and he told me that I need more fibes in my diet.
Ooh, I think maybe you misunderstood him, Brendan, but we'll talk about that off mic. Because, doctor, I swear, I'm watching Dr. Fibes every day, and I don't know, I just don't feel any better.
Fiber, I said. You were complaining about constipation. I said you needed more fiber.
Oh, I guess that does make more sense than a random cult horror movie being watched every day having an effect on my health.
It didn't affect my bowels at all, but I sure enjoyed
I'm prescribing you an hour and a half of daily Fibes.
And I would be okay with it.
Thanks, Doc. This is the best medicine I've ever had. It is so good.
So at the end of this, are we recommending the return of Count Yorga?
God, no. Absolutely not. Steer
unless you want to see very young Craig T. Nelson.
Yeah. Which I did take a picture and send it to some people saying, look at how young Craig T. Nelson was. Not that young, though. Still looked pretty middle-aged, actually. But
yeah. Yep, that hair. I wonder if he was born...
with that setback hairline.
Yeah.
It does. He still looks 45 in this movie.
Yeah, no, there's no reason to recommend it. We do recommend the Abominable Dr. Fibes.
Yes, please watch that instead. Though I will say, because we said we were going to do this and we haven't checked in, still not as bad as that Count Dracula that we started with. I would still watch this over that. That was abysmal. This has at least a couple of mildly interesting moments. That one was truly atrocious, and we still haven't seen anything that bad.
But I did like him with that mustache.
Well, yeah, there's some aesthetic choices, but it is a failure on almost every other level.
No, it's not a good film. It's not.
But how about next week on the show?
I don't know. What are we doing next week, John?
Well, we're taking a break from vampires and turning back to the Frankenstein tale. This time, though, with a new feminist twist, because it's Lady Frankenstein next week on the show.
Oh, if I remember correctly, you didn't even know about this until I told you about
it. This one skipped my research for the show.
This one is absolute trash, but look at that cast, man.
I mean, speaking of Dr. Fibes, we have the great Joseph Cotten, who I love. I love Joseph Cotten.
I do too. This one will make you sad, though. It has Mickey Hargitay, Jane Mansfield's husband, and bodybuilding champ.
Yeah.
And it has, all right, I bring up my crushes, but Rosalba Neri is the star of this one. And she, unless you're a fan of Italian trash cinema, you probably don't know her at all. Her daughter also became a very established actress in her own right, actually. But yeah, I'm a big fan of hers. She's very striking, and she never made a good film.
Well, I see here on her IMDb, her nickname was the Italian Sphinx.
Not sure why.
I don't know either.
She would always ask a riddle about what has four legs in the morning.
Yeah. By the way, still with us, Rosalba Neri.
That's great.
Yeah.
But anyway, it is utter exploitive trash, and it will be.
I will say though, and we'll talk about it obviously next week. Killer poster though.
Oh yeah, it's good.
Yeah. So yes, Lady Frankenstein next week on Campbell and Jones Meet the Monsters. But that's going to do it for this week's episode. I'm John Campbell.
I'm Brendan Jones.
And remember, there are such things as monsters.
I mean, I'm going to take your word on it. I have yet to see any definitive proof.
I don't know. But there's no definitive proof there aren't, so.
Oh, well played, Roger Perry.